Almost done too. Tell a friend we're live. Right, let me quickly post this. There we go. Boom. No, no. Wait. Here we go. All right, family, let's go. All right, let's get this stuff in the room. And switch. All right, fantastic. Hello, everyone. This is your host, Rap Raven. Welcome to the Black Band Broadcast. This is the 259th episode. That's right. That's 259 attempts at unifying the Black community. Fantastic. Good. Oh, yes. So let's start as we always start. Let me get this document in the right way, I should say. Read mode. Yep, there you go. All right. Now let's see if I can go through some kind of order. All right. So don't forget to follow the Black Man Building Instagram page. It's there if you want to follow it. And let's start as I always start. So, we always say because of the history of Black people, we have to have a retroactive expectations, and that is to remember the ancestors and the atrocities inflicted upon them and the community in the past, present, and behave in a way that reflects this, reconnect with Black people locally, globally, and form networks to teach each other about our different cultures, repair the Black community of historical trauma that caused self-hate challenges and health issues, and rebuild the Black family, Black economics, and Black nations. Let's not forget that. So retroactive expectations. This is automatically started when our people were destroyed. That's right. It's a no-brainer. Oh, yeah. Okay. So let's not forget that, the best way to try to fix the Black community is, as what we put here, a single solution, which is Black Betterment. That's right. A lifestyle of Black people continuously helping Black people. Sounds fantastic. Yes, sir. That's right. So a lifestyle of Black people continuously trying to help Black people. If we can, and we promote that here. So if you can find a way to make that amazing, that'll be very helpful. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And we focus on Black families, Black economics, and Black health. All right. So we sent the link out, and people can jump in and have a talk. But just don't forget the 4D values when you are speaking. And those 4D values are discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. That's right. Take these 4D values and take them. Take a screen grab or download a PDF, please, or whatever it is. Take it. And just remember the 4D values whenever you want to work with Black people. Discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. And that will help you try to find solutions at a better rate without triggering anxiety. All right, let's try to use also descriptive language over derogatory language. That makes it easier as well. 2 topics today, and this is a continuation of last week's topic, which we started, but we didn't really get to finish. And that is Non-Afro Jamaican Colonisation tactics. Long word there. We discuss why non-Black Jamaicans and Jamaican-influenced people have colonization tactics. This comes from, we watched a morning show last week. We're going to watch it again, I guess, today. But we'll watch it from a different kind of source. And it was just about 2 non-Afro, non-Black Jamaicans on the show and how they spoke and how the Black host spoke. What that reveals about Black Jamaicans and non-Black Jamaican citizens and how they perceive the diaspora, Jamaica, the history, and all that good stuff. And is there some behavior patterns that might be not best pleasing? All right, and then we also, probably no one knows, there's Roger Jackson incident. For those who don't know what it is, there's an MMA guy, UFC, MMA that I'm saying. And his son got an incident where he attacked some guy in a wrestling ring. This is pro wrestling, so it wasn't a sport. It was like a staged event. And it's going around the internet now where he was put in a coma, or a bad coma, or maybe he was knocked out for a long time. Very, very unfortunate. And we discuss how good parenting is important to help. Wait a minute. The funny thing is, I didn't even notice that I haven't put the entire thing there. I can't remember, to help with children, I guess. I can't remember what the topic is, but yeah, you get the graph. Yeah. So what it was is I don't know if we'll start that one, or because we might start with it and come back, or maybe we'll start that one and then we get to the Jamaican one because the Jamaican one's longer, but this one is a bit more short. So yeah, maybe I'll just break that one down, and then we'll go back to the one that started last week. That might be a better idea. We'll see. So I guess so. Let's start that way then. So let's see the videos. So we'll start with yeah. So what was I explaining? Raja. So basically, yeah, there's a famous MMA fighter called Rampage Jackson, and he's got a son called Raj Jackson. He's had some problematic things he said in the past. The father, as pertains, I think he was married to a black woman. He had so his son is with a black woman, but his other sons or kids were with a Japanese woman or something. And he's always because I think he's got like a reality YouTube streaming thing, and he's known for clowning people and joking people. And he does it a lot with his eldest son. And he made some joke about he's raising money. The money he raised, his Japanese kids, he's going to send them to college or something like that. And these black children or whatever, he's got like bail money. I saw some, yeah. So he said a few distasteful comments. This guy, but yeah. So the paint the picture basically, and the videos will show will do it. I think what happened was he's a fan of wrestling or something, and some black other wrestler brought him to backstage in a wrestling event. And some other wrestler saw him and thought, let me try to, I guess, work him into the program. So he hit him with a fake can, and the Raja's son wasn't happy, and everyone came in and said, no, don't do that, and this is not part of the show. So it was meant to be some kind of show thing or whatever, and he was offended. And he's one of the kind of guys where what he does is he streams like most people, I guess they stream every minute of their life. So he was streaming it was seen, and then his fans was like clowning him, and then his dad also streamed, and his dad was streaming at the same time, talking to him on a separate stream, and he was clowning him. And then I think the promoter said, well, you can if you're upset, you can join in the show at the end and get him back or whatever it was. I don't know what he said. And yes, and what happened is at the end of the show, he ran the ring and knocked the guy out. He's an MMA fighter. The other guy's not an MMA fighter. I punched him 21 times unconscious on the floor. And then, you can't even watch the video because they've actually blocked it out because of the violent nature of it. But it wasn't looking good, and the guy was knocked out and all this terrible stuff. The comment about raising college fees as biracial kids and bail money for the black ones was that who said? Did he say? Oh yeah. Yes, yeah. The comment. Yeah, that was terrible, absolutely terrible. Yeah. So let me play some videos because right now, if you don't know MMA and you don't know, I'm just talking it. So let's see if I get some videos just to paint the picture. But yeah, it's a much unfortunate thing, and the focus. I mean, there's a whole lot of things happening, like people being racist to the dad and whatever. But we're not going to cover that. Or we're going to cover more so the importance of having a good father. And there might be something wrong with him, like some kind of something. The way he talks, it seems like something isn't right. But that just might be me reaching. So what one should I play? Let me play a longer one, and then so this will give you more of a story back.
You've been keeping up with the Roger Jackson situation recently, you'd know that there's a lot of names now involved in this situation as suspects. If you've been living under a rock and don't know what I'm talking about here, the Roger Jackson situation I'm referring to here is when Rampage Jackson's son, Roger, turned up to an independent wrestling show recently, a Knox Pro Wrestling show to be specific, and after an awkward encounter backstage with a worker named Psycho Stu, which was then resolved, Roger held this anger in and ended up taking it out on Psycho Stu in his match in what was meant to be just a simple post-match beatdown angle, punching him 22 times whilst he was unconscious in what was an obvious assault. Yeah, it's a story that's been dominating the...
And also, if you actually see this video, you won't, they've blocked it out and stuff, and you can't really see it for whatever reason, but there's certain things that when you see it, this man was able to punch someone 21 times unconscious. The referee didn't stop him. The other wrestlers in the ring didn't stop him. No one ran in apart from one guy after, whatever. So all that needs to be kind of reviewed here, because I don't know if he's been charged yet, but I suspect attempted murder might come in. I don't know, because it is quite you can't just punch people, all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Big up, brother Qatari. Welcome to the show. Whenever you want to speak, you're always welcome to just give your opinion.
Yeah, big up yourself, Raven. I saw the video clip of Roger Jackson.
Right.
It was quite interesting. The whole wrestling thing in the MMA world is kind of crazy. There's a lot of social antics going on that's involved, I feel. But yeah, I'm aware of the situation.
Okay, cool. Well, anytime you want to make a point, just say and we'll unpack it, yeah?
Yeah, much love, King.
Thanks. Peace, fam.
The airways of the last 2 days has been one of the biggest stories in all of wrestling for the last couple of days, with a police investigation underway for Roger, Knox Pro Wrestling losing their WWE ID affiliation, and loads of drama surrounding wrestlers who were telling Roger to give him a receipt and encouraging it, and former Knox Pro students exposing Knox Pro for telling its students to not cooperate with the police investigation. It's just a shit show all round. There's a lot of moving parts to this story, and things continue to heat up, as whilst Roger Jackson himself is yet to say anything on the situation or offer any sort of response, his father Rampage Jackson now has. He was first asked about it by a TMZ journalist who I think found him at the airport and asked him about the situation. I can't play this clip because obviously it's a TMZ clip, it'll get copyrighted, but just last night he did go ahead and fire up his own Kick stream, as of course it was Roger that was banned from Kick, not him, and he did.
So that's Rampage Jackson. He's like an MMA kind of like legend from many years back. He's the guy. He's got shows where he like ribs his son and this kind of stuff. But obviously he has said some certain things. While this has come out, there's a lot of like anti-black racists using it as a propaganda tool to say black people are savages and that kind of stuff. I mean, we can unpack that, but I'm more interested in how he was raised. And was something missed where like your son is capable of really not understanding or going too far? And also the point I mentioned here, when I think they told him you might have killed him, and he said my bad. So that showed, I don't know, and then he kept streaming. So there's some kind of disconnect or some kind of adolescence or something in his son. I don't know what it is, but it was very peculiar. Big up Brother Dominic, and big up African Goddess in the house as well.
Speak in length about the entire thing.
You know, it's hard for me to talk about it, but you know, I'm just keeping 100. You know, I feel bad about what happened to Psycho Stu. I don't condone what my son did at all. Very, very unfortunate. If I was there, things went down, but you know what I'm saying, I wasn't there. I'm a father, so you know, I gotta have my son's back.
So he's 47, his son's 25, and I think the mother passed away. His mother passed away very young, and he was raising his son, I think, bringing him with him, and then he met a Japanese woman in Japan when he was flying over there, and then she offered to help him be a mother or something like this, and they got married. But they got divorced not a few years after, I don't know, but they got kids. So that's much as I know about his kind of family.
But I'm gonna let justice, you know, play out, take its course. Ain't much I can do on that side, but be a father. Y'all know I can't talk about that shit. I can't talk about any details and stuff like that. I can't really go into nothing. I hope y'all can respect that. The shit put me in like a bad mood, you know what I'm saying? I feel bad about Psycho Stu and his family. His family had to see that shit, you know what I'm saying? And I just wish I could have been there, but I couldn't. Shit is wild. Shit is wild. Now shit all over the internet, so you know, I see a lot of people editing stupid shit for clickbaits and stuff like that, and to make money and shit. That, you know, that's not fair. There's a lot of racist people showing their true colors and stuff, but you know, all this shit, you can't stop none of this shit. But you know, I'm not, you know, taking up for my son or anything like that. I'm just telling you guys facts, you know what I'm saying? But I'm doing what any father would do.
So the young man probably had emotional abuse and neglect. Yeah, something was definitely because I didn't know about him before this thing. I might have seen one clip here and there, but there's a lot of clips circling of him, in whatever reality show they do, being kind of like, abused by, not abused, but ribbed and cussed by his dad quite a lot. And I think, and they're not going to probably show it here, but, a few minutes away before the actual event, his dad was making fun of him. The funny thing is, this is the person who brought him in is like a light-skinned black guy. Here he is and his dad, and I think they're trying to get him to blame as well, as in like because you brought him in and he was unvetted. So this is him.
Response on Facebook, which quickly got deleted and wasn't a good response at all. And he's now appeared on an interview where he's offered up an even worse response to the entire situation, where he takes no responsibility and shifts the blame onto every other person involved.
I'm not dealing with anything with regard to speculation, rumor, hearsay, anything of that nature. I will deal only with my personal experience. I will deal only with the facts as I witnessed them and as I acted, as whatever came out of my mouth, wherever these 2 feet went, and whatever I was involved in. Guess what? In a video that was over an hour long, hour and 30 minutes, hour and 20 minutes, whatever it was. In that entire video, you will only see my ass 8 minutes. 8 fucking minutes was my activity in that entire thing. I had the least amount of involvement in this shit. However, I'm taking the most of the heat for it because what's happening, I won't get too deep into.
For those joining, we're looking at Rajay Jackson. This is an MMA fighter's son. He got in a kind of altercation with a wrestler, maybe misunderstanding, or I don't know. And then he ran in the ring and punched him 21 times and knocked him out. And he's pretty in bad shape. But the way, and that's another thing, there has been MMA people before and boxers who have hit the public. And because of that, unprovoked or maybe provoked, their arms and legs are registered as weapons. Like when they go to court, it's seen as a more dangerous thing because you're trained to harm people. So just hitting people, you can't do it. There was some guy, I can't remember. I think something machine. He had a woman, adult star girlfriend, and I think she left him or something like this. And I think he beat up the new boyfriend, beat her up, tied her up. I think he's still in jail today. I remember the whole court scene like that. That was a white guy. But yeah, so you being a fight of some kind, just attacking someone, I don't know if that's gonna work good for you.
Family ties and shit like that, but it's very obvious. It's easy to go ahead and throw me under the bus.
AJ, before you go on, let me let
AJ actually then goes on to reveal that he's got a personal relationship with Raja Jackson through the fact they actually trained together, and that himself, Raja, and Rampage had a meeting the day before about a potential Nox Pro / Kick partnership.
Raja, who is...
I'll stop it there. I don't think there's anything more in this video. It's just, yeah. So what I'll do is let me just what's that? They've got a fundraiser for the guy who was knocked out. That's him. It's probably raising a lot.
On the road to recovery and recovering well, the GoFundMe is now up to over 150,000 raised, with donations from the likes of Mr. Beast, Chris Jericho, Finn Balor, Nick Nemeth, Jack Perry and Swerve Strickland, and other wrestlers in the industry. I'll leave a link to the GoFundMe down below if you want to donate.
Right, that's that was going there. I've got one more video. Let me see if there's anything worth it. And we'll chop is this one? Yeah. So I won't. This one is actually the attack. I won't show. I actually won't show. So this is him. He runs in the ring and he picks up the guy, and he's MMA. He slams him down, and he's knocked out straight away. And then he starts hitting him. I'll see if I can skip some of that like that. So I won't show the video. And then the referee's not stopping. This guy's not stopping. There's people all around the ring. No one runs in. I don't know what they're doing. And then finally, someone comes in. Well, I don't know. Yeah, he just pushed him off or whatever it is. And yeah, and then other people come in after like 21 punches. And then he's still trying to attack him afterwards. So something was wrong with this. I don't know what was going on. Yeah, trying to press his as follows. So now that I've gone past that bit, let's press play.
To its core, in the alleged watch attack has shaken to watch it. This horrific, hard-to-watch attack has shaken the pro wrestling world to its core. In the allegedly unscripted viral moment, Raja Jackson, who is the son of UFC great Quinton Rampage Jackson, climbed into the ring during a match in Sun Valley, California, and attacked Psycho Stu. He body slammed the bearded wrestler, then pummeled his face more than 20 times, apparently to the point of unconsciousness. Psycho Stu, whose real name is Stuart Smith, is reportedly doing fine and recovering, but the damage to Raja Jackson's career is done. TMZ reports that cops were called to the scene on August 23rd, and the LAPD has launched a criminal investigation. So what the hell happened? The violent, unplanned attack went down during a private wrestling event at Knox Pro Academy. It was apparently in retaliation to an altercation between the men earlier that day. Outside the venue, Stu had smashed a beer on Raja's head.
What, you don't know me?
Hell no. Yeah.
Hey, I think that's a little.
It seemed to be setting up a storyline for the show. The two were later seen making amends on the live stream, but then things took a dark turn.
Also there. So yeah, I mean, I haven't got any videos of the dad and that interacting, and if you were to actually watch and you see him streaming, it is quite unsettling. And that brings us to the topic like knowing your child, raising them properly, and being just aware of like, you know, what's going on in their mind and stuff. I don't know. Anything you want to say, Brother Qatari, before we unpack it? Just go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm aware of Quinton Rampage Jackson and his son's relationship. I see it quite a lot on the internet, and it's a very interesting relationship that they have because where Quinton's quite hardcore because he grew up in like MMA fighting. To see how him and his son kind of act towards each other is quite interesting. And I don't know, it seems like his son kind of lashed out, like he probably, you know, just lashed out and put his hands on someone. It seems like that. But what's really interesting to me is that how all of these so-called people are setting up GoFundMe, money for this wrestler guy. And I'm just thinking, if the shoe was on the other foot, would that be happening for Raja?
No, I probably not. No, I haven't really, you know, I wouldn't. Not that I can see. Like, yeah, they've raised quite a lot. I think it is interesting because one thing, obviously, there's the whole backlash of racism that the father's going through, and then there's a question of like, you know, what kind of role he played in his life, and you know, was it too much or not enough or whatever. And then there's the psychological condition of the son. The son seems to have some kind of adolescent behavior for a 25-year-old man, like the way he's talking, and I think after he left the ring and he had blood on his t-shirt, he said, "My dad will never treat me like a punk again." So clearly, something his dad said and done seems to be in his mind. But the fair to understand that he just knocked someone out live on camera in front of millions of people, and that person they presumed was dead. So I don't know if all that's going to work in his favor at all. But yeah, to answer your question, I probably not. No, no, because the people who be raising the money for him will more likely be black people, and they tend to have less money. So that they will get. I assume he's got quite a lot to do. Right? Last it was 150,000. I'm sure it's much more than that now. But
yeah, that's kind of crazy. And I don't know. It just seems like his son has just lashed out. And it could be, like you say, like some type of trauma that has been developed through the relationship that him and his father has. Maybe he's under pressure because he wants to be an MMA fighter and he can't quite be like his father in that regard. So it could be a number of different pressures that's going on, and he's just lashed out. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's had one match and he lost it, I think. I don't know his skill rate, but I doubt at the moment he's not going to be anywhere near the level his dad was in. Ultimately, I think it's good for children to learn self-defense and that. But once again, if someone is unstable and they understand, they know how to harm people, the whole Spider-Man thing, with great power comes great responsibility. Had he have not been an MMA fighter and this was a normal kid, whatever, maybe it could have easily been, overpowered or whatever. For him being an MMA fighter and ground pounding and knocked out man, it's not going to look good in the courts, and it's not what, like, wrestling is predetermined. It's not a fight, so I don't think they're going to have any case. I don't know where they have the case, but I suspect he might have to do time for attempted manslaughter, maybe manslaughter. I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's an unfortunate situation. And it's just kind of crazy that happened in the ring. Like, he could have, for example, he could have done it after or whatever have you. For him to jump in the ring and do it in that kind of public setting, it's quite interesting.
Well, it ties into a lot of the stuff I see with some of the kids now, where they're either committing crimes or threatening people they don't like on podcasts or music on a stream, and it's almost like the validation and ego to say or do certain things in front of people is so high that their own safety, their well-being, their freedom isn't even a consideration. There's been many younger guys, I should say children, who commit crimes, whatever, and they stream it, and then the police has the crime on the stream. There's many. When I was doing a lot of community work a few years back, a lot of the guys, I was dealing with, like, they already, it was a done deal. They already provided the justice system with all the evidence they need. Just like this guy, he streamed himself saying, "I'm gonna knock him out, then keep punching him." He said that, and then he went and done it. So it's they're not gonna. They're not. I don't know what they're gonna do with this guy, but the truth of the matter is, if she was on the foot, it'll be unacceptable either way. Like, if anyone is knocked out, and you carry on hitting them in any sport, it's just. And also, the referee, even though the referee isn't built to handle that kind of stuff, I assume, still the fact that 21 blows on an unconscious person was done. If it was one blow, then but because it was so much, they're gonna put him away, I would assume. Shame, but that's what it is. But the more we're talking about is I don't have any footage of the dad, but know that his dad's antics seems to really rile up his son, and his son clearly has some kind of learning, understanding challenge, I'm assuming. So I don't know if that's had the best impact on him. He's taking the things more serious than maybe the dad intends. That's right. Wrestling is not sport; it's entertainment. Yeah, and they all knew. And then the guy who hit him, I think he hit him with a 10 can that's made for, like, movies, apparently. So anyway, that's enough on this one. Unless Katari was saying anything else, we're going to move on to the next one, and we'll follow up with this, as it goes by, if it goes to court and stuff. But it's most unfortunate that's what's going to happen to this young man. All right. So the next topic, family, is how do I get rid of this? Remove. Tell a friend, we're live. There we go. Yeah, this is a part 2 of what we continued last week, and that is non-Afro Jamaican colonization tactics. So we were looking at, forgot her name, I did write down. There's a Chinese born Jamaican citizen who lives in Jamaica, and there was a European white guy, English, born in England but moved to Jamaica very young and was raised until he was 12 or maybe 14 at some age, moved back. And they're on the show talking about Jamaican identity and challenges and this kind of stuff. And I think Sister Kush brought up, like, some of the behavioral patterns was a bit was a bit I guess I don't know what the word, I've used colonization, but it was a certain, we felt a certain disrespect that you would never get vice versa if Black people were talking about Chinese or English stuff. And we're going to watch it again, but we'll watch it through, there was a brother, he's got a show and he reviewed it. So we'll watch it. So we'll be reviewing a review of a review. But I hope it's not too loud, guys. Let me, if it's turned down.
A video, a clip or a segment that came out of TVJ this is TV Jamaica talking about out of many one people. So we'll break it down. We'll break it down.
Folks, Jamaica is a culturally diverse nation, but how much does our society really embrace non-black Jamaicans? My mom was one. Comedian Harry Gregory, a.k.a. White Yardie, and producer and director Lorna Chin join us now to share their experiences. Good morning to you both. Welcome to Smile. How are you guys?
Good morning.
All right. Lorna, tell me what are your thoughts? Because we keep saying out of many, it is our motto, out of many one people, and some people live by that and said we have the Chinese and we have the Indians and we have everyone here and we are just so loving and nice, but maybe not with everyone. Is that so?
I live in a bubble, apparently, and I didn't even know that we had this problem until maybe two and a half years ago. That's the honest to God truth.
And when you say we didn't know you had this problem, what do you mean by this problem?
I don't think it's a secret in Jamaica that I was attacked online for not being black, and it obviously took me.
You see, this is what I really dislike about today's journalism. Now I know that I've paused it before the host have actually had a chance to rebuttal this, but they don't. And this lady has turned around and said, I was attacked for not being black. And I can tell you that I remember when she went viral online, and that is not true. What the truth is she was gaslighting the diaspora. That's what she was doing. She was saying how her granny has got a Jamaican passport and she's got a Jamaican passport, and the people outside of Jamaica who have left don't have passports, and well, the people that don't have passports and they've left, and she was the one who started this argument about the accent being from Ireland. But the facts are, people, no matter what, whether people like it or not, yeah, Jamaica is an African diasporan, if that's even a word, country. These are the facts. So these are part of the narratives that they're trying to bring forth now. So these kind of people, but we'll watch and talk. We'll watch.
By surprise. It was totally, I would have to say, it came onto left field. I had no idea that was even an issue.
Tell us what happened, Lorna. What happened?
I was talking to one of my friends on Instagram, and I wrote KMT on it. And she's supposed to be half Jamaican. So when she calls me up on the phone, she goes, "Hey, you keep writing KMT. What does that even mean?" She and I got into it, and she says, Put a poll up, ask your friends. You just made that up. And so I did a poll. And then I remember going to sleep. My husband was not home. His father was very sick, and he had left that same day. And my phone is getting I'm like, oh, it's an emergency. I have to answer my phone. And I pick up the phone. It wasn't ringing. It was Instagram going off nonstop throughout the night. And then I'm like, oh crap, I'm going viral. So, just for speaking in my native accent. And I wasn't even speaking in Pat.
Mind you, folks, yeah, I want you to understand something right now. The argument that this Chinese woman was coming with was an argument that's actually against whatever my man called White Yardie. Yeah, because I don't like that term still. But the argument she was trying to say back then was that if you've left, you don't have no claim to the island kind of thing. That's what she was getting at. Now, remember that my man, White Yardie, left Jamaica when he was 18. Bear that in mind. People, bear that in mind that he left when he was 18. Folks, just understand something, yeah? He left when he was 18 and come back to the UK. So why is he the face of certain things? I don't get it, man. Let's go.
So I was speaking in English.
So people just thought you did not have the license to do that because you're not black? Yes. Is it that you're not black, or you're not? Were they questioning your Jamaican heritage, or were they saying you don't black? Or the two are mutually exclusive, or was it both?
I'm going to be honest. It's simply because I didn't appear to be black.
Gotcha. Wow.
Fake
and
news.
So how did that make you
Fake
feel
news.
living? I mean, you're born here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did that make you feel? We'd hear this thing all our lives, out of many one, and all the cultures that meld to make Jamaica.
So what we were saying about last week is there's a kindness you get from black people, and especially in Jamaica, where always trying to include people and stuff. You don't want them to go through any things, even if what someone says might be actual factual. And actually, you have to parallel the stuff where you don't see these behavioral patterns in China or England, where where someone is going to say that like whites are not the majority of founding fathers of England. It's just what it is, and black people are the majority and founding mothers and fathers of Jamaica. So that's just what it is, right? But no one will go to China and say, well, actually, Chinese was founded by black people or whatever it was. We understand how the history works.
Jamaica what it is, and here you are going through this. Does that make you question the motto and question the reality you've been living for? So Jamaica is a former European slave colony built on the land of Taino people. They make up the bulk of the population, but Afro-Jamaicans have never owned or controlled that country. Well, if you're talking about proxy governments and how Europe has controlled the Caribbean, that's a different argument. But right now, in the land, the majority is black people, and they have a governing system. However long?
I do not question them.
Big up Empress Christie. She's the sister who brought the topic last week. We're part to it today.
Motto. I realize that there are multiple interpretations of the motto, and that's because if I find that you're not hostile and you're not a troll and that you're not insane, I'm going to entertain an argument, a discussion. Sorry. I love a good discussion because I like learning new perspectives because, like I said, I was living in a bubble and I didn't know that. So I met a young man. I'm not sure how old he is, I should say, but I met a gentleman and I determined that he was not crazy and that he wasn't stupid. So he and I got into an argument and he said, the motto doesn't mean what you think it means. And I go, look, I passed high school. I placed first in social studies, not once, twice. And I'm pretty sure I know my Jamaican history very well. What do you think it means? And he said, the motto means out of many African tribes, we are one African tribe. Oh. And therefore, and I kid you not, and therefore, if you are not black, it does not apply to you. And I asked him, where did he learn this? He said he learned it in school. So Ministry of Education, you need to fix that.
So yeah, telling we said last week, telling that they need to fix the history of from many black people, a one black people were formed. Is it that's once again you will probably get that in China where you have to fix the history of China.
That's the truth.
I was today years old when I learned that's what I mean.
Well, I still don't know that is what it means.
Wow.
And like I said, there's a kindness in black people where you want to always try to be accommodating, even bending history to make others feel. But like I said, you don't see that behavior repeated in other nations at all.
Harry, what about your story, my friend? So you were born in England, and you came home, and you're back in England. So what's your story?
My story is basically what you say. My mother and father, they've been living in Jamaica for many years. And, when my mother was pregnant with me, she did make the decision to go to England or come to England to give birth because she had a miscarriage before me. And she was worried because she was at high risk of, something could go wrong. And she made the decision. And once she made the decision,
Yeah, I've got the Lady Chin's some of it. I've got some other video, and they bring up her past stuff. So I'll play it afterwards.
3 months later, so I was born in 1984, and in 1985, the beginning, I went back to Jamaica. Well, went to Jamaica to live until 18. So that's my story.
Have you been given a hard time? You're going like he's a Jamaican, you're not a Jamaican, and kind of fool.
Listen, man.
Talk and rare. Have you been?
I'm gonna be real with you. You see this whole
Hold on.
It's a country me.
Folks, I want to explain something to you. Sorry. Listen to the disrespect of the diaspora that this brother will show in a second. Now understand this, folks. Understand this. That this brother, and I'm not attacking him, don't ever think that, but he's attacked the diaspora. So we gotta highlight this. So let's listen to what he says first of all. Let's listen to what he says first.
Fair enough. So St. Elizabeth, me grow Black River, and country, I know have a different way of life to like Kingston and probably even Montego Bay more as well, because that's the major cities. In a country life, it's very different, Nobody, when me there at Jamaica, I live, at no point in my life Nobody made me feel different. I never stand out. Nobody treated me give me no special treatment because of how me look or my skin complexion. When I go school, there are times when beating I go on to school, you know. So teachers beat me same way as them not look for me and say, when I got beat, I'm red and it's easy to, you know, them something that them beat me same way, discipline me the same way. So my life upbringing is the same like any Jamaican child growing up from the 80s, go all the way up to the 2000s. And that's my life. I only realize certain things or come across certain words and situations when I left Jamaica. That's when I start to realize there's an issue with you being yourself.
Where was the issue? When you went to the UK, or was it with Jamaicans?
No, man, UK. So
in the UK, okay.
Yeah, the majority of the issues that I have encountered is always from people who born outside of Jamaica.
Gotcha.
But they might. I'm not gonna say them not Jamaican. I'm saying maybe them great grandparents are Jamaican or somewhere down the line.
Jamaican heritage.
All right. There's the attack. That was the shot. Yeah, that was the shot at the diaspora. Yeah. So let's clean this up for this brother now. Yeah. Before we carry on playing this. So the brothers just got onto this Jamaican TV station and said he had no issues when he was in Jamaica, none at all. But he came to the UK and he started having certain issues with people whose great grandparents are Jamaican. That's an attack on the diaspora. That's a shot at the diaspora. So let's understand something then. Why was he not attacked when he was in Jamaica? Because he was in Jamaica, just living his life like everyone else in Jamaica is just living their life. Why would anyone attack him? Like, there's no country in this world, yeah? Even if you go to Pakistan, yeah, you're going to see the odd white man, black. There's even black man in Pakistan. You can go online and see that. You will see that. They're just living their life. No one ain't bothering them. That's how he was in Jamaica. He gets on the plane and he takes a journey to the UK. When he comes back to his home, where he's actually the home of his ancestors, which is the UK, he returns to. When he gets to the UK, he builds up. And remember, people, this is no attack on him. I'm just breaking down what's being said. He gets to the UK and he decides from there that he's going to create a character. And that character is going to be a character that benefits off of favoritism because he's white, A. And B, a white man with a Jamaican accent is an exception. That's like that's something out of the ordinary. That's the orangutan on the bicycle when you get to the zoo. That's what that is on a commercial level. So what I know to be true is that most of the UK diasporan people, they don't care about nothing. They don't care about history. They don't care about the future. We spoke about this for the past few weeks. You know, the mixing, let me word things right, the integration, the carefree attitude to life. We brought that debate online. All them man that are on TikTok making videos, doing this, doing that. We brought that debate to Black Britain about the diaspora dying. We brought that convo to where man are talking about interracial dating, this, that, and the community dying. Now his audience is those people. His audience are those people who have grown up in households that are Jamaican, who have grown up around Jamaicans, around the community, but they don't have no sort of plans on continuing that. They don't have no sort of ties to that or nothing. But when it comes to a man like this now, he can sell to them, which is why he works. You can't show me no other culture in the UK, whether black or different from black, that has a non-national, whether you say people are, oh, my man's this, my man's that. No, he's left like all our grandparents left. He's left like all our parents left. He's left like some of us left. What's the difference with him? This is what I'm trying to say. He's pushed because he's white. Let's keep this thing 1,000. Now, the reality is this with my man, yeah. Some people here realize, yo, my man's in the money. My man's getting the monogram sponsor. Oh, my man's getting this. Oh, he's the face of Patty's in Lidl. Oh, he's the face of that. Like, we here are saying it. Some of us here are.
Is he the face of Patty's in Lidl? Is he?
Saying, well, how's he the face of these things? You get the whole. We brought that conversation online. You get the whole of the diaspora attacking UK because they love this brother. Whereas we're saying, well, what happened if a man from the diaspora want to be a comedian? Like what's going on? Like he ain't getting no. Like there's plenty of man. Diesel, this one, that one. They ain't getting no bring through like that. None. Where man's parents, man's grandparents, man have grown up in this thing. You ain't grow. Doesn't matter what you. I can pick any culture and take my kids and go and move there. It doesn't mean that's what we are. No one's attacking him because of that. If that's what you claim, that's what you claim. People asked questions like us, like why are you the face of a football match in the UK with Jamaica playing friggin' Nigeria? Why are you the face of two black nations? Come through, Noble. Come through. We're gonna warm this up. Come through. Come through.
You're painting the picture, man. You're painting the picture, and by inserting this character into the mix, pictures and moving images paint thousands of words, if not millions of words. What is that showing you? That is showing you that they want this to be the.
Sister says, I can't lie. Brom is the last stronghold we have. I ain't gonna lie. I do think. I think that the concentration up there is like, you know, where the mindset is there's still much. They're not as clustered as down here in London, so they still get it at a better rate.
Acceptable face of so-called and called black culture. This is how it's going to be sold to you. We're going to repackage it and we're going to put it in a format which is acceptable and palatable to the world. So yeah, White Yardie, that's a normal thing. Didn't you know? Out of many are one people. So that's white people, that's East Indians, that's everybody. Everyone makes Jamaicans. These Jamaicans aren't just black people. Mark, come on. We know this. It's not just black people there. It's all the people. But what they want to represent is the motto.
Yeah, man.
Is the fact that, yes, we are all, it's a melting pot of everything. And within countries, of course, there is different types of ethnicities, but the majority of the people, the Jamaican culture that we know was spawned from people who look like we, right?
That's a fact.
Not from the settlers, the Irish settlers, the Scottish settlers who were the overseers and all that. Not the plantation owners. They didn't come and say, "Yo, speak like this. Yo, create this form of music and we'll dub it reggae, ska and all." They didn't do that. Through what they did and the experiences that we had, we created the culture and the customs that we now know as Caribbean Jamaican culture.
Exactly. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to do a live on-air example. First time this has ever been done on Express Truth. So what I want you guys in the chat to do is assist me. Noble, get involved in this as well. What are the most three popular sports globally? That's a better question. Let's do it that way. Come on, chat, help me out. The most three popular sports. I'm going to start.
Three popular sports. Football is number one. Then if you're talking about teams and stuff, basketball. But if you're talking about other things, you probably have to like tennis. The tennis will come up there as well. I wouldn't say cricket only because India play, and India's got like 1 billion people, so that will, you know. So I'm assuming that anything else, I can't see it. That's the ones I would say. Cricket, yeah, but only because of India. So you're looking at football, basketball, cricket, I would say. And then tennis, if you can count tennis, that'll be maybe third, maybe. And then you got F1 and this kind of stuff. That's probably, and golf. What? I don't know if they'll count like that. So, but without question, football should be number one.
And I'm going to say football. So I need anyone else to give me two others, yeah? Because we're going to do a live test with this out of many one people thing. Football, basketball, yeah, man. Real goal getters, big up yourself, man. All right, then. What we're gonna do right now is we're gonna show the latest football team picture. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Let's go. All right. So this is the first sport. This is the very first sport, yeah, that we're gonna draw for. Now remember, they keep telling us out of many what. This is the first sport, people. Just the first. I'm doing this random. Where's the out of many one in this picture? Have we got this on the screen? Are we seeing this, Noble? Are we seeing this? Show me the out of many one in this picture. Big up Damari Gray. That's a Brummy, yeah. This is a Brumming diaspora. Yeah, that's a Brummy. Where's what's my man's name? The brother who played for West Ham. There's Bailey. I can't even see. Now, this brother, I don't even like pinpointing no one, but that's the only brother here who could pass for out of many one people. And don't get it twisted. I'm not. Everyone here is probably mixed up with things, but remember, they're promoting the place like a cultural melting pot. So I'm saying, if it's a cultural melting pot, that's the football team. There's the football team there. Where's the white yardie playing for the team? Where's the Chinese brother who's playing for the team? Where they at? All right. Some people might say, "Oh, there's none in the football team." No problem. Let's switch it up. Let's do something different.
You're gonna go cricket.
I like these live ones like this. All right, then. Here we go. Yeah, this is the Jamaican basketball team now, yeah? This is the Jamaican national basketball team now, yeah? So we've done... Remember, I don't follow Jamaican basketball, so I don't know nothing about Jamaican basketball, but boom, Jamaican basketball team. People, where's the out of many one people? So we've done two. All right, hold on. Football, cricket, and tennis. Football,
Yeah.
we've done basketball. We're going to pick one more. This is the basketball team now. Where's the out of many? Where's White Yardie? Where's the Chinese brother playing for the basketball team? All right, forget that. You know what we ain't done? None of us have said the number one thing, you know, athletics.
Well, that's a broad. Yeah, I get what you say. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
That's probably the best thing to go for, because remember, the athletics team, they take massive pictures. All right, so we're going to do this live on air. All right, here's a picture. All right, this is the latest one. The athletics team now, yeah? Remember, we're talking about out of many one people. So we're going into the athletics team. Here we go. Show me, that's 24 April. It wouldn't have changed that much in a year, people. Show me the out of many. Now, I'm just saying, show me the out of many. Where's the Chinaman who's in this? They won 83 medals here, yeah? Let's zoom in. So you mean to tell me there's not one coach who's from this out of many one people? There's not one. Not even one. Come on, folks. Someone's lying to someone. Someone's lying to someone, because we've just got the free sports.
Cricket, you can't really show cricket because cricket's Caribbean. So they'll have, but even that, you know, it still look the same as Jamaica for the most part.
Look, this is all the coaching staff and the athletes. Where is the out of many one people? Where is it at? Where's the we can't see it. There is no out of many, but what they do now, they attack. They'll attack now people who are trying to find out the answer. So let's go back to White Yardie.
Have Caribbean roots somewhere, or sometimes them not have none of that, but it's just them not like to see it. That's what it is.
And what are they trying to tell you? That because you're light skinned and you don't live there?
Yeah, you cannot.
Light skinned, you white, bro.
Light skin.
You know about light skinned, you white, bro. This is what I'm saying. The host are a part of this issue.
Yeah.
I'm saying the same thing, right? Like there is this universal kindness of trying to make everyone fit in so much at the expense of your own identity and your own ownership. But either way, let's say it is nice, okay, but you don't see it repeated vice versa. You see the opposite going on.
Yeah. The hosts are a part of this issue because the Chinese woman was standing up there, yeah, she gaslit the thing. She did that. She created a whole online drama for nothing at all. Now with my man, I get it. These black Brits love him to bits. I get it, and I'm not saying you not love him as much as you want, but the truth is the truth. Like Angel Garcia used to say, "Man's hands ain't big enough to cover the sky." The truth is the truth. This atom, it's something that was put in place. I don't know why they did it. You know, I don't know why they decided to do it, but it was put in place to kind of discredit everybody else. Or kind of like anyone can just get involved. Because I'm saying with my man, like, think about it. This is a man who moved over there. It doesn't matter if you moved over at 3 months. You moved over there. Your parents fell in love with the culture. And that's beautiful. That's absolutely wonderful. Because most people will fall in love with cultures and they'll never get the experience to be able to move to that country and actually live amongst that culture that they fell in love with. You got to do that. And you've been able to build a career off of the fact that it's not normal for that culture to have a forward-facing person who's non-black. People can talk about Bob Marley, like my man, like the facts are like Bob Marley was black, bro. He's black. He's mixed race, but he was black though. He's black. Like his dad took advantage of his mom. They never dealt with him at all. They actually cast him out. They actually cast Bob Marley out. Like people always draw for these mixed race famous brothers, but don't tell the story. Like his dad.
What did he identify as though?
Marley.
What did he do? Yeah.
Right. The only thing I ever seen him do is benefit off black culture in Jamaica. You get me?
It. Just imagine the flip of it. Just imagine the flip of it, and he started straight combing his hair, like perming it. Iron combing his hair straight, bleaching it blonde, and trying to be like white folk.
Exactly. This is what I'm trying to say. It's not this thing. This is about reality. Like I've just showed you 3 different sports organizations in Jamaica. I've showed you the football team. I've showed you the basketball team. And I've showed you the athletics. And in one of those pictures, have we seen evidence of this mixed, multicultural melting pot of the country? But what you have to remember is, the diaspora are the ones who are always being attacked by these folks. Because I'm saying, White Yardie's whole act is aimed at the diaspora. All the bread my man makes is from the diaspora. Those companies come to you. Think about how stupid we look as a people. This is not about him being white, This is not about him being white. Think about how foolish and stupid black Jamaican diaspora look. That a man's gone over there for 18 years. I don't even know. Come back the same way how most our grandparents came here for the first time. He's came back. Our grandparents came for the first time. Like a man that's on this, your parents came for the first time. Yeah, he came back to here. And now look, he's the face marketing to us, marketing products from back home to us, an Englishman who speaks with, and I'm not, no disrespect, because people, this is going to get a lot of attacks if we clip this. People don't like to admit it, but remember, what he just said, their great grandmother. Why is the diaspora always being attacked? No matter what, the diaspora just getting on with life, doing what they do. People, I hope you enjoyed that clip. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to watch the stream in full, consider becoming a Patreon or joining our YouTube members. And don't forget to hit the like button, folks, and we'll see you in the next one.
Big up Express Truth there. Don't go follow them. Go follow their account and go subscribe. Big up those brothers there. Yeah. So that let's play another thing. There you're seeing. Yeah, so we're pretty much synchronized in our thoughts on that. There's another video I got. I think, let me see how many I did. That 1, 2. Oh, let's play this one. So this is you've seen this one before, but this is still
now Jada. You're an idiot, Swear down. Stop doing.
This is the sister who was pregnant at the time. She left the show after this. I think it was because of this why she left the show. Maybe this was the needle that made her leave. The straw, sorry, that broke the camel's back. I'm not too sure.
Nah,
we're real to it. I watched the stream. Are you trying to say he's not real to it?
Where are you from? Dominica. And you're from England.
Yeah.
I'm more Jamaican than any of you lot on here.
You're not. When was the last time you went to Jamaica? No, hold on. Nobody can't tell me nothing. Wait. When was the last time you went to Jamaica?
When was the last?
This is a disrespect talking to a Jamaican sister, a pregnant one as well.
When was the last time you was in Jamaica? Do you know what's going on the streets of Jamaica?
Real bad man.
When was you there last?
You made a big claim. It matters. You made a big claim. It does matter. You made a big claim.
When was you last in Jamaica?
When was you last in Jamaica?
So this was this guy. I think he's been on TV, some shows, and I think he was attacked in America for some reason. I'm not too sure what's going on there. But like I said, you need to be able to conduct yourself in a way, and especially if there's a man there to protect the sisters. And this, like I said, there's this over need to protect non-black people from having access to African or Caribbean culture and have full reign to do what they want and claim and benefit, even though they're going to get that anyway just by being non-black and doing something that black people do. You will have an advantage in many avenues, as we see, right? Everyone's someone? Yeah, it's that guy. Let me remove that. So let's open up. There was a sister from Jamaica who she clipped some videos of what that sister said beforehand, so we can see. Let's go to video. white. I think it's this one.
Come to Jamaica and tell black Jamaicans that we are not Africans. No, I don't see your point.
Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, there is this Chinese Jamaican who has been trending. The video she made about Jamaica, it is like 2 or a year ago, but recently it has been trending and a lot of people have been reacting about it. I reacted it. The Chinese Jamaican lady was saying that those Jamaicans who are not in Jamaica, they should not be called Jamaicans, but this Jamaican lady is in Canada and has something to tell her. Let's hear and then we will come back again and talk about it.
Ministry of Education, I have a bone to pick with you. Why are so many Jamaicans ignorant of their own history? Why so much dunce people in my comment section? Oh my God, people, stop it. The Jamaican accent is not an African dialect. The Jamaican accent, like everything associated with modern Jamaican heritage, is in fact the byproduct of the cultural melting pot that our motto embraces. In fact, in terms of cadence, it's most similar to an Irish accent.
I've been shook enough now, to be honest, since the racing has been tired now. And
there's an actual channel, a Caribbean channel. It could be run by people outside Jamaica or the Caribbean who might be Asian or white. I'm not too sure. And they do a similar thing where they try to really disassociate Africanness and Africanity and anything African with the Caribbean. And they really go to the limbs to the point where they really go. I thought it was cool. But this is a very interesting behavioral pattern.
Legs are like jelly, but yeah, I suppose we did a bit of.
Hold on, right? So I know, just so you know, there's a brother called Pan in here, and I've told him he can only come live if the panel vote him in, because obviously he doesn't promote Black Betterment, he promotes something else. And he says, Raven, I want to ask the Caribbeans a question about non-blacks in the Caribbean. So if you guys want him to ask a question, you can. I'm always going to be equal and say give a person a try. But if you don't, if people want him to ask this question about non-black people in the Caribbean, you can say yes. Just give me a 1 or a yes. If not, then he won't come in. So we'll see how that works.
Celebration, did the podium.
You can give me a yes or a no.
Podium thing and got to put on the.
If no one votes, that's a no.
Podium pants as well.
You see, as early as 1656, Oliver Cromwell ordered 2,000 Irish children to be taken to Jamaica and sold to English settlers. The extent of Irish immigration to Jamaica was so prolific in the centuries to follow that 25% of Jamaican citizens can claim Irish ancestry. And this includes Bob Marley and Marcus Garvey.
Very interesting. Bob Marley and Marcus Garvey can claim Irish ancestry. Is this what she's really trying to... why this Chinese one would really want to do that is like... I mean, would you go to China and say the same? Okay.
So if you never know, now you know. Again.
So we got we got one person who's curious what you want to ask. Tell him what type of tell him to type the okay. The family is saying type the question and we'll post it, and then I guess if that gets some feedback, then you can jump in. But type the question. That's what's happening at the moment. Let me see what he's typing.
Out of many, one people. My fellow Jamaicans, me come for drink milk, but be there cocoa. It is abundant.
He says there's only 2 people in the chat though. I said, well then you better hope that you get at least 1. But you're gonna need 2 because you can't. I don't think you can get in on the draw. So you better hope 2 people vote for you if there's only 2. So the thing is, and this is just a lesson to the future. Listen, if you want to come to the Black Baron broadcast, we're not saying that you have to follow any kind of like strict guidelines of how to be pro-black or be one way, but there is a direction that we value Black people progressing in unison. So if you have an ideology that is to separate that, it doesn't work in our best interest. But then you probably could still get your chance to speak, but you cannot troll and you cannot be antagonistic and all this kind of stuff where you start calling people names that they don't want to be cool and you start over talking, kind of stuff like that. And that's where you have to be very smart if you want to promote any other ideology outside of Black women. So let's see what the people say. Let's carry on listening to this Chinese Jamaican individual.
It's clear to me that there are people who live foreign and identify as Jamaicans, but you don't have one of these.
This is the.
And while you're entitled to your opinion,
because that was a quote that got everyone really whoa. That was a low blow kind of Johnny Cage kind of strike that one.
Out of many, one people. My fellow Jamaicans, me come for drink milk, but be there cocoa. It is abundantly clear to me that there are people who live foreign and identify as Jamaicans, but you don't have one of these. And while you're entitled to your opinion, owners are set our ass black duns. So let me set the record straight. Number one, Jamaica is not an African nation. It's not a black country. We identify as an ethnically diverse society. People, please just stop it. Out of many, one people, Jamaicans. We do not hyphenate and we do not encourage separation by race.
That's a very strong. I don't know her history, this lady's history of whether she was born and raised there. Did she come over? I'm not too sure, but that's a strong kind of like aggressive tone she's pushing there. And I don't think I've ever seen black people do that in China. Well, you can't because they ran you out, wouldn't they? But very peculiar. Go on, brother. You said you want to speak?
Yeah, King. I wanted to say, there seems to be a pattern that goes on. Like it's even happened down at Speaker's Corner, for example, and it seems to be like, for example, there could be these white supremacists that are hiring these kind of people and then giving them this message to say and to just spread diversion tactics and just these whole narratives that are just lies and of separation. That seems to that's kind of like what I get from this, you know. And the thing is, she's saying that because she's got a passport, you don't have Jamaican blood. This is my thing. Like, if you've got Jamaican blood, then that's what you are. That's how I see it. Like, I go off of blood. You know, I don't care if you got a passport. You know, that means nothing to me. That's just a piece of paper. But off of blood, you know, that's what I kind of go off bloodline, to be honest.
I hear that. And I think for me, I think it's even simpler. It's like, I understand that all over the world, people are going to move and like and get to know new cultures. But that doesn't reverse history. And that doesn't reverse the global issues that's going on. So one, if I move to China, I would never try to embed black people into China foundation unless I had some kind of evidence for it. I wouldn't want to do it. But also I would read the room. We understand that black people have gone through a horrible part of colonization and people stealing certain things, and also misrepresentation and not being able to represent ourselves in certain avenues. So for you to come in and to be given an opportunity that others will never get in your land, you would read the room and go, let me not even try to talk about this because it's not appropriate. But she's doubling down and she's shouting and she's trying to say, look, I'm Jamaican, you diasporan, you ain't got nothing to drink. Just like that, we saw that the Bashment guy, whatever songs he makes, I don't know. Same kind of thing. Very strong colonization tactics. And it's, I think, yes, at the time we have to call it out. But when we call it out, because unfortunately, this is the facts you have to deal with. There is a universal kindness, unfortunately, that black people, especially in the Caribbean, will go through when it comes to, and Africa as well, in Africa, where when a non-black person is doing some cultural kind of activity or some language activity or some vocal activity or whatever it is that connects with a certain nation of Africa or Caribbean background, there is this longing to like appreciate, and I can't believe you do it, and there's a big joy. And now let's make them the chief of our village. Now let's make them the president of our district, whatever it might be, right? And this happened, and to the point where if anyone was to say anything harsh against them, they would then become enemy number one. So I'm saying you would want to approach that in the most kind way, because what you're going to have is you're going to have one Jamaican arguing for another Jamaican to defend a non-Jamaican or a non-black person or whatever it is, right? And I think that it needs to be a more calm, kind, collective approach. And that's what I would say, like, just use the ignorance of the non-born or the non-Afro descendant to destroy their argument, rather than your aggression towards it or your passion towards it, to which our people will use it against you without question. Kind of like you saw in the Cream video, kind of like similar esque, I would say.
Yeah. Number two, this one's mine. This is my granny one. This one is my mom's, and this is grandpa.
Didn't they say that her granddad, he went and got a woman from China to marry? I think they did that in Africa as well. As in they tried to get women from their country in to marry them. So, and I don't know, she might be married to a black woman, I don't know. Well, that'll be interesting. There we go. This is a question from you. You Caribbeans live in the UK field. The Caribbean and you refuse to return. How can you be mad at Asians and whites moving to the Caribbean? Well, the thing is, brother, once again, you're not listening to the argument. Jamaica and the Caribbean is a wonderful place. And if you want to go and live there, so be it, right? The issue is where you have a colonization mindset, where you moving there and enjoying and secretly having all the benefits, you can have that. But when you try to then represent like you are a face and reverse history and shut down people to try to correct you, and meanwhile you're getting all the benefits that would never be given to someone else in your stead in your land, this is a thing where, oh, this is history repeating itself. But I suspect you know this, Reverend Pan, but we'll find out if you do it though.
Yeah, it's hardcover. Grandpa died a long time ago. If you are planning a trip to Jamaica and you don't own one of these, you're going to have to book a return flight from where you came. These are the rules. I'm just laying it down for you. If you go to Jamaica and you don't have one of these, immigration will stamp your passport and give you a set amount of time that you're allowed to stay in Jamaica. And if you overstay your welcome, we put you back on a plane and we send you back, you, not me, you back to the country from which you came.
So this discussion about this Chinese woman, she's Jamaican, but a badass Chinese girl, lady, who feels that she should defend our Chinese roots in Jamaica. Hey, I'm not here to cuss out Miss Chin. That's not my intention. When I listen to what Miss Chin is saying, she has some point. But what I don't agree with Miss Chin with, and Miss Chin, may I tell you, say, me never want to really, as I said, come here if have any problem or cuss you out or anything, like what you are going with. But what I can't understand with you is when some of the points you're making that, you know, Jamaican people are not Africans and that patois is not from the African language. And you're wrong. You understand? I don't know if you had problem in school. You said that they used to mark you. News, never news for you. They used to mark me too. And for me, it's obvious that I am of African descent with my skin color and all of that. When you're talking and you're talking about you flip your passport, them and I talk about who born you from who born you. All of my passport, them in my generation, a Jamaican passport, right? I'm in Canada. I have a Canadian passport. But what I did forget to do is take out my blue passport when we have upstairs. And for your information, being here, we still can acquire our Jamaican passport. Right down in Toronto, there's an office down there where we can acquire our Jamaican passport and being dual citizen. So we don't have any problem. And when you're talking about how if we go to Jamaica, Jamaican government is gonna tell us how long to stay in the country. That's not true. When we go to Jamaica, we can buy a open ticket and go to Jamaica and decide when we want to come back a foreign. You never know that? Yes, that's how it works. We can decide if we want to come back or not, and nobody can run we out. You understand? So that's not true. If you hold a foreign passport, yes, you would want to obey by the laws of the passport. You travel as a tourist, go somewhere, whether it's there you come from or not, and you would want to come back because there's duration of time you want to travel. But if I get up right now and I buy a ticket and decide I don't want to come back to Canada, see how many months, nobody can send me back. No go so. You understand? And you know your accent, your fake Jamaican accent, because remember, say you not live a Jamaican either. You're there foreign, right? So if you there foreign, what you are implying that if we go back to Jamaica, Jamaican government can tell us when we stay. It applies to you too. A foreign, you're there. And I can understand where you're coming from, because I have encountered fierce Chinese people you know, downtown, and not keep shop downtown, or no disrespect Jamaican people. And I mean, if you are Jamaican, I'm not here to say you are not Jamaican.
We did cover in Africa and certain parts of the Caribbean where there'll be people of Asian or Chinese descent who will move into certain areas and exclude and be disrespectful to the people who live from the land. Even having in some parts, in 3 parts of Africa, I want to say there's 3 parts, maybe West Africa and East Africa, we saw where there's certain days in the week where black people are not allowed to enter certain shops and stuff. So this is an interesting behavioral pattern.
Or not, you were born there. You.
No, I think the sister might be mistaken. I think the Chinese lady does live in Jamaica, and she was, I assume, was born there. Maybe not. I don't know, but she's got a passport. Her mum's got a passport, and her grand people have a passport. Well, I don't know if it's back and forth in China. If they've always been. I'm not too sure.
Parents were born there. That's what you said. But make it clear, Miss Chin. My father never import my mother. My father never import my mother. My mother come from Jamaica, and we are African descent. Don't get it wrong. Yes, Jamaican people are African descent. We not afraid. We don't quarrel with nobody. We are okay. We're African and we love Africa. And you cannot, as a born Jamaican Chinese, you cannot dictate to us who we call ourselves. Me never hear nobody say Jamaica is a racially diverse country. I hear that Jamaica is not described as a racially diverse country. Huh? Where you get that from? All your history, them where you dig up and talk about our accent is from Irish people or whatever. And no, in none of the Jamaican patois you can find any Chinese language or any Irish language. No, they're all African.
What is that with non-black citizens of the Caribbean? They're longing to disconnect black people's connection with Africa. It's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing. And I mean, there's history of it anyway. Like I guess, but it seems to be the number one thing to do when you go there is disconnect your connection with Africa and post it to Europe or Asia.
Can derive from African language. And let me tell you something, most of them were made up by the African people in Jamaica. Because, why? When the slaves were dragged to Jamaica to work, you see, the slaves make up their own language so that the English would know when they're talking what they're talking about. So let me tell you something. Word like nyam is a real word, and that's from Africa. It means food, eating. You understand? Uno. You understand? Mean more than one people. It can mean one or two. Yes, uno does stress. Yes, it's Spanish, but uno is used in Nigeria too as a group of people or one person. So nobody get it complicated and act as if we don't have no sense. And the one thing women know say you are really Jamaican is your nasty word and what you have in your mouth. If you want to belong to a place and if you come to a place, what are you cussing out Jamaican people for? And I call we idiot. Just because we're identifying ourselves with our motherland. And that you upset about? You depend news that talk about you are not Chinese. Yawa. All your talk say you're not Chinese and I'm looking at you. Me no see nothing else to identify you as. And again, you said your father import a Chinese woman, go China, go get a Chinese woman. Forget you as a child. My father never get my mother from nowhere but in a Jamaican. You understand? So if you're mad with somebody and a Jamaican people you're mad with, yeah, you said that then you smack you. Then you smack me too. Then you smack the Indian people, them call them coolie. Because anybody poop in a class or pass guess in a class, then say them. Everybody get their share of bullying at school. America, Canada, wherever you come from. So that's not an excuse. All you have to do is if you are defending something, you're defend it respectfully and don't cuss out people and call people dongs. You know the sense now? You're really out of order. All right, so Miss Chin, me done with you. I'm listening to this American brother who are schooling us too, telling us that it's because we live with country and with the abroad, why other people come in and disrespect us. No. I mean, everybody free to go where they want to go. Some of us leave Jamaica for a better life.
So this sister here lives in, I think, Canada, and I think that's why she took offense to the lady who's Jamaican Chinese, because that lady was saying that you can come and say what you want, but then you're gonna have to leave to go back to where you're from, which is Canada or wherever it is.
A lot of my money is worked here and sent back to Jamaica to look after my parents, to send my sister them and my sister them Pitney and brother Pitney them at school. We send home money to Jamaica, and if it wasn't for us who leave Jamaica to send money back to Jamaica, I don't know what Jamaican people life would be. Even let me talk about my people. A lot of my money is work, and I send back dollars to Jamaica so that our economy can be good. So we don't need to be, even if you are an American, you are not a Jamaican and you are an American. You have to be careful of what you are saying too. I don't agree with you saying that if we never leave the country, this wouldn't happen to us. I mean, you the America. What about blacks for Trump? Go talk to them. What about blacks for Trump? All I'm saying is that when all of us are defending our territory and where we come from, we must be respectful. And there are truth in most of the arguments, there are truth in them. Because if I born in Jamaica, to be on Miss Chin side a little bit, I born in Jamaica. I wasn't born in China. I grew up in Jamaica. I go to school in Jamaica. My parents lived in Jamaica. My parents, I mean, she's right. She's Jamaican. The only thing is that she, me don't know what she really defend. I don't know what she's mad about. Because if she's mad because we are saying, rightfully saying that we are African and that she's mad about, I don't understand her. You understand? But I mean, everybody where you're born, you can't help where you're born. And wherever you're born, you're going to say you're born. There are a lot of Jamaicans who are born in America. Yeah, they say that they're Jamaican and they're American too. Or Canada or England or wherever we come from. Jamaica is a melting pot, but it's not a pot where, you know, everybody are going to say, okay, we are not Jamaican because we're not African, but we come from Jamaica. No, we are African. If we are not sure of where we come from, if none of us are unsure, or any of us are unsure, I'm not unsure. I am of African descent, and I am very proud. I love it, and I am going to say it over and over again, right? So nobody else who were dragged to Jamaica or were from Jamaica, whether you're Indian, Chinese, you know, English, you know, Russian, Germans, you know, those people that I know, Irish, you know, you cannot come to Jamaica and tell black Jamaicans that we are not Africans. No, I don't see your point.
Yeah, welcome back. Now, this Jamaican lady has a lot to say about this topic of Jamaican racially, Jamaican who are not in Africa, Jamaicans who are not in Jamaica, not Jamaicans. Jamaica is not a Jamaican African nation or African descendant, or Jamaicans patois is not for Jamaicans. It's a lot of things, but you have heard what she has said. I don't know if you concur with her. I will not add or reduce something on that because I already talked about this. Tell me in the comment section what.
All right, so there you go. So yeah, so yeah, a good video there. But yeah, and even though the brother Pan, he's always good to play the European Africa, and you know he's saying if you Caribbean living in if you're Caribbean living in UK, US, outside the Caribbean, you open the door for whites and Asians to move to the Caribbean. There's no issue with people living in the Caribbean. What is it? The Asians and the whites in the Caribbean can say whatever they want about the Afro-Caribbeans because they know you won't do anything about it. So I don't know where the motivation to do. I don't know what point you're trying to raise, Mr. Pan, but like I said, there's no issue with people living in a black nation. That's fine. Who wouldn't want to live in a beautiful place amongst beautiful people? The issue is the colonization mentality and the changing of history and the removing of blackness from important pillars of a community. Obviously, this makes unity even harder because, like I said, you remove words, you remove connections, and before you know it, everything is everything. Nothing is anything, and then that allows people to take what they want. We welcome Empress Kush to the show. Black Betterment sister.
Black Betterment, bro. I'm outside, so I hope I haven't got too much background noise for you.
It's fine as well.
Thank you. I've got something I want to ask, Brad, because on this, I just feel like at this point, where we're having diaspora wars and things like that.
Yeah.
Currently, I do kind of think that this is kind of something that the surface hasn't been scratched yet. Because although Miss Chin and Harry, I can't lie, they do work on my last nerve. I do feel that our family within Jamaica needs to understand that what they push has detrimental effects going forward. Them enforcing Harry then leads to Full Dot saying what he did to Cream.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? And I feel that also, and this is with so much respect, but Jamaica's on the map because Jamaicans from Jamaica who moved to other countries held their culture and repped their culture. And then they embedded that into their children. Do you see what I'm saying there, bro?
Yeah.
It's not that, although Jamaica is a beautiful culture and everything's great, let's not act like this just happened from osmosis. All the way in the fourth largest island in the Caribbean, it transmitted. It transmitted because of carnival. It transmitted because of the food. It transmitted because of the flavor. It transmitted from the vibe, from the people who were in these Western countries. Does that make sense?
I hear that. Yeah, I think Jamaican diasporans moving to Canada, America, England, and maintaining that link, and then being placed on mainstream and it going wide and stuff. That as well as obviously Jamaicans in Jamaica. I think sister's connection with Jamaicans in Jamaica doing what they're doing. The whole music scene, the culture scene, the Rastafarian scene. It was a collaboration of both. But yeah, I'm just reading some of the comments. Yeah, brother, you got to learn, brother. You got to learn to speak in a way that might one day get you back on the panel. But the way you're talking, I don't think it will. So yeah, this is But I think what I was going to say this is before the connection cut, and I said it before. I'll say it again. Is there's a kindness that you're going to get in the diaspora, as in no diaspora, in the continent and in the Caribbean, and that is like when people go to that land, do not treat them. That's fine, sister. Do not treat them how black people are treated when they go to their land. So do not treat there's a history of black people being harmed in Asia. There's a definite history of black people being harmed in Europe when we first come over, right? And then glass ceilings being built and this kind of stuff and all that kind of stuff, right? It's very normal. But you do not get that in Jamaica. If you go through any kind of hardship, you're going through a hardship that everyone else is going through. There is no unique hardness you're going to get. Now, everyone talks about school bullying and not everyone, but school name calling, which seems to be a universal thing, right? But generally, you have a way to thrive and have an industry in whatever you want to do, more so than you might get when black people go to other lands. But what we're trying to say is when you talk to black people, like the people in Jamaica, in Nigeria, in wherever, the way you got to talk to them is kind and correct, because if you come across as aggressive, you're just going to get their backs up. Because what's going to happen? They're already painting the picture that the Jamaicans in Jamaica are lovely, while the Jamaicans in the diaspora are mean-spirited, right? So it's more so like, you got to understand that how you word things and how you arrange things, you're going to make it easier for people to come and claim things that should be yours. So you'll have a European representing all things Jamaica in the diaspora. So people of Jamaican descent or people of Jamaican culture won't be able to tap into it, because automatically just having a connection to a more powerful people group economically, they're going to have more access, right? So it's just codified behavior.
Yeah, I agree. I see it as a colonizer behavior as well. Like it's the same as like in what's going on in South Africa.
Yes.
You know, it's a lot of people that's just moving in, taking the jobs, then they're denying the native people of the land the opportunities and jobs. This is the same thing that's been going on, and this is all the same concept I'll be seeing, you know, especially with this Chinese woman. I've got no ratings respect for her, because I know what she's doing, and it's just her disrespect. You will never find a black person that's going to another country making these kind of claims, and I find it very disrespectful. But it's an underhanded tactics that's going on. You know, they're really the supremacy is really trying to cause this divide, and they're really trying to just take over and do all they can to just ruin any type of structure that we have.
Yes. So today's videos, there was, as usual, there was the Bob Marley comment and then the not African comment. So what they try to do is they try to separate diasporan Africans with Africans in the homeland, whatever it is, and then also people of a mixed heritage background. They try to separate, and they're desperate to do that. And I think it does bother many I think it does bother Europeans and Asians who go to black land, seeing the diverseness of black people, meaning diasporan, different shades, different backgrounds, different cultures, unified under blackness or under Africanity or some kind of collective progressional idea. It does bother them. And it's like, well, you have an entire continent, Europe or Asia, to fall back on. But unfortunately, because of the behavioral patterns of some of those continents, we're struggling to fall back onto like Africa or the Caribbean waves, because we're still trying to recover from what has happened. But your behavioral patterns don't help. And that's a very important thing to understand. Yeah, unity does. And when I was going to Speaker's Corner, a big up, brother, young Zanis. I'm sorry, I mean, screen's very small. Welcome back as well. A consistent thing that whenever black people come together and talk in any kind of unity language, it seems to really threaten non-black people who weren't included of this stuff. And I think this is the colonization mentality, where it's like, we understand as a people that what our people make is ours, and what black people make is ours. And they might not think of it like that when they're saying it, but when you break down what's happening, that's how it is. Because they acknowledge that, okay, we understand that you as a black person cannot come to our land and do what we do in your land at all, right? But we still want the privilege to do what we're doing, you know? And I think humbleness is important, where you can say, you know what, I recognize these people have a history, and there's a history of struggle that goes on. So when I go here, I'm not going to spend my time trying to convince them that Jamaica is a multicultural people group, and everything they do comes from Ireland and not Africa. And once again, I saw this in some Jamaican Instagram page. I always ask, like, where are you from again? Like, what's your background? But then I never get a response. But people are telling me they said they're either Asian or European. I can't remember when they were saying that. Yeah, they're not actually of Afro-Black descent. That's why all their posts is trying to disparage African connections or Africanity or Black identity and all this kind of stuff. It was a problem. Yeah, it's it is an issue. It is an issue, but I think what we should do is we should have a a episode or a few episodes on how to communicate to brothers and sisters in Africa and in the Caribbean about how to approach this topic. So start off like if you live in a country, enjoy yourself, and you know whatever, that's fantastic, right? But also not to that's because someone speaks your language or has your accent or lives where you live. That means you give special treatment and you start opening the floodgates on changing history and stuff and all that kind of stuff, right? I mean, I know it's slightly unrelated, but I think there's a lot of things down in America at the moment and some things up and down here and there. But there was that kind of arguing about hip hop and stuff. And I think what was happening, you had like Europeans and white Latinos saying how that their culture and African American culture in unison is the birthplace of hip hop, when it's like, well, that hip hop was already there before non-Black Americans was doing it. So how can you be a part of the genesis of that idea? And if you unpack that, there is a history of how that works, where you have African Americans doing something, them being Black and segregated, and because Black Caribbeans look like African Americans because of the same people group, they can go and integrate and be involved. And then within the Black Caribbean group, you have the Black Puerto Ricans who face discrimination in the Puerto Rican group, as well as being Black in general in a sense. And then because they're doing hip hop or whatever it is, that opens the floodgates for not European, but white Puerto Ricans or lighter skinned Puerto Ricans or non-Afro Puerto Ricans, however you want to word it. And then what happens is then the we becomes me, and then before you know it, hip hop is a 50-50 non-Black kind of art form, and then 50 becomes 60, and then before you know, I mean, if you don't believe what I'm saying, take a look. We covered this when we did the rock and roll breakdown, where we're saying rock and roll obviously started in the Black South in America, and then they couldn't get too much money doing what they're doing, and then they'll hire. Then the labels got involved, and they started hiring Europeans to then cover the rock and roll songs from the Black people. Then those Europeans became stars, and England got involved, and the Beatles, and they became the biggest thing. And the white Americans had no idea at that point that the Beatles were influenced by Black people. They thought, no, they're just a white rock group, or whatever it is. And then things like Rolling Stones came out, and then we covered that. And then MTV that only played rock music, but they said rock music and no Black people, including Michael Jackson, Prince, and these people, Rick James. And there was a backlash from Black people then that they weren't welcome to go on MTV. And then the Rolling Stone magazines, they did magazines where they said we're not going to include any interviews of Black rock and roll artists for our magazines for whatever reason. So that's what you see. Then the face of rock and roll becomes white people, and jazz is the same thing. It was going that way as well. So that's why you want to be inclusive and kind, but you want to have ownership. And I think that's the moral of the story is how you have ownership, and that's important. And that's something that we teach here, and we try to teach here. The importance of ownership. But at the same token, you're not disparaging people from being around and doing what good ideas, but knowing that how to prevent your intellectual properties from being colonized from people who take it and really just do what they want with it. Not that I'm here to say yeah, nay, hey, and people have their own cultural things, but when you look at how rock and roll was taken over by Europeans, it became something else, and they went down certain other paths and certain other whatever, and a lot of whatever. Right? I'm not gonna go there, but that's them, whatever. But the fact is that then becomes the face of rock and roll, all that kind of stuff. So have people do their interpretations, but let it know that it's owned by Black people and it's a Black art form. What Black British people to prioritize being British over Caribbean? Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's the thing. There is a prioritize here of being identifying as British over Caribbean or Africa, and that's why it's important to understand that we are in Britain, but we're still of Caribbean African descent, and maintaining as many things as possible. So it will be cool if when you come to England, there are Caribbean African centers, cultural things, just like Chinatown. right? Literally Chinatown is what we're saying. You know, I wouldn't be. I'm pretty sure that woman, she probably works in Chinatown in Jamaica. I assume, right? So it's that kind of thing, right? How to maintain your own culture group, and that's why it's important that you try to find people in the community to build with, yeah, and all that good stuff. Blah 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 blah. Very important. So today's topic, family, was non-African Jamaican colonization tactics. We discussed why non-Black Jamaicans and Jamaican-influenced people have colonization tactics, and the Roger Jackson incident. We discussed how good parenting is important to help. And I think the word should have been black men grow or something, and that is, that was making sure you do not belittle your children, you raise them correctly, or you could turn them into dangerous weapons. I mean, we see that anyway with some brothers and sisters, where some of the children become uncontrollable and they commit crimes, and by then it's too late. They think they're own and you can't control them. Same, you want to teach your children to be respectful, love your community, love black people, and protect the innocent and not harm the innocent. Very important. And then we moved on to, obviously, the non-Jamaican colonization tactics, something we've seen for many years, where non-black people get into black spaces, they prosper very well, and then they want to have a big opinion, and they have a colonization opinion, and it becomes problematic. So this is what we're discussing. Well, I guess that's why they dislike the Arab community. Well, who dislikes the Arab community? You're talking about in England, or that's not what you mean by that. And we also want to welcome back Empress Kush. Welcome back, sister. It's good to see you. Let's let her find her microphone. She might still be outside. She was on the move, but we're joined today by Qatari, Brother Qatari, and Empress Kush, and we're also joined by Brother Pan. But the rules, because he doesn't practice any form of black betterment, he has to be voted in. And so far, the way he's speaking, he hasn't been voted in. But I'm sure he can type in a certain way that will get the community towards him, so he can be voted in, so he can have his say. But here on Black Betterment, if you're absolutely completely against Black Betterment and you consistently kind of do a certain behavior, then you have to be voted in, unfortunately. But everyone else can go straight in because they're kind of synchronized with a concept of black people having black people and black issues. That's the idea of the show, you see. That's how it works. There you go. So hopefully brother can do some kind of campaign in the comments to get his favoritism up. But yeah, we've got that 20 minutes left.
I like that, bro. Has he given you a question at all?
Well, obviously he made a lot of statements, and then once again, the thing is, what I would recommend, Brother Pan, and anyone who follows that kind of pattern, who's got an ideology they want to spread that is against black women, try to word it in a way that's less aggressive and trolly and authoritative. Like more like approach it like, oh, have you thought about this, or why not this? Well, it seems to be the statement after statement and name calling after name calling. So we've heard it before. It's not that entertaining. So it's just what it is, But anyway,
but he said he had a question for the Caribbean people. Can he not even gather himself up to write an actual question down?
Well, yeah. Was that? Were you practicing Brother Pat? Do you actually have a question that you want to ask, or was that some of the question you asked first? I think you said something about if it depends. You said quite a lot of things there, so I have to really scroll. Asian, is it about the Asians and whites in the Caribbean? No,
Black Betterment, Brother Qatari, by the way.
Black Betterment Queen.
Yeah. So, brother, we're struggling to find this statement that you wanted to say. But if you could find it, write it down, that'd be most helpful. Oh, maybe it's in the group. Let's see. Hold on. I asked my question multiple times. Why aren't Caribbeans moving back to the Caribbean to protect the Caribbean against neocolonization? So, and here's what it is, bro.
Wow, that was original. Well done.
So here's what it is. And remember, we always have to case study brothers and sisters who don't practice black betterment. We suspect what the brother's trying to do is he's trying to find a way to remove black people from certain black spaces, and that might be one of his behavioral patterns. So yeah, but brother, whenever you've got a more a question that correlates with the topic, let us know and we'll say it out loud. But the way you word things, it's not really entertaining anymore, which is a shame, really, because we do like to give opportunities. But anyway, yeah. So in regards to neo colonization and stuff. This what I was saying before you cut this was if you say what we're saying to Jamaicans or Nigerians or whoever, they will automatically go in defense mode for the
Truth.
yeah, they're automatically right.
Facts.
So I think it's more so. I would say always lead with look. It's if people want to live in other lands, we never want to recreate the hell that black people got in China, England, in Jamaica, Nigeria. We know that because that's just not. We don't. That's not. We know better, right? However, we also don't want to give away resources and history and culture for others to be the face of. And I think the brothers did it and Express Truth did it really well with it. Show well, you're saying that from many come one, but when I'm looking at the sports teams and that, they're not there. Like when it comes to people actually
They
training
look like
hard,
us.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? And I think right.
No, sorry, you're on a roll. Sorry, let me.
No, go ahead.
Continue, bro.
No, go ahead.
I think for me, it's just so frustrating, this thing here, like, and this is where I need your strength, right? Because you're so good at analysing stuff and not letting, even if it's justified, those reactions come out and you see the kind of colonisation or the pain or whatever behind it. Do you understand? But for me, I just see disrespect, bro. And I think because of today, just went to support a black event. It was lovely, right? And of course, they were there.
Yes.
And I was just thinking to myself, and this was more of a Caribbean-based, Jamaican-based event. And I just thought to myself, look at the difference. Like I'm in the UK, and the China women, and I do think that this is another thing to talk about as well, but at the right time with the right brother, i.e. you. But I do feel that in the UK, a China woman, like for example, there was a China woman there with a black man. There was an Asian woman there, a couple of Asian women there with a black man. A couple of half Chinese, half Asians there. And that's all good, right? But what I'm saying is when I go there, the respect is known.
Yes.
There's no one coming up to me telling me that they're more Jamaican than me, even though they're sleeping with a black man each night,
Yes.
Even if they might have some of it, like one of their parents are in there, there's a unity of, I class myself as this, so therefore I'm of you. I don't think I'm better than you. I'm not telling you how to coordinate your culture, how to promote it, how to live it. Yet we go to the island and it's a different thing where we are the majority. Do you see that, like, as a woman, it's just the difference is sparse. Like, I don't know. Because I feel like we've spoken about this before, that black women tend to hold the line a bit more, right? But I felt like what was very evident for me today was the respect boundary, right? Those women of outside races never come to black women. I mean, on an average, right? I don't find that outside women of outside races could ever think they could talk to me about anything to do with black culture. They understand they're a guest. Does that make sense, bro?
Yeah.
So it's just mad seeing that you're in an island where we are the majority. And yet look how you're talking. If you was in London, you'd never say this, ever.
No.
How mad is that, bro?
I
if
think
you was in the West, you wouldn't say that. But when you're in the island, the rock, you can say that. Do you see what I mean?
I think that happened in America as well as Caribbean and Africa, where when you're in a place where black people are majority, and that black people are not accustomed to other people doing customs that you're doing, once you realize that they're doing it, there seems to be this over expression of, oh wow, they're doing something that we do, let's include them and let's give them extras for doing it because no one else does that, or no, it's not a normal thing, and that kind of like behavior. But also there's the deeper psychology of actually self-hate, meaning that I can't believe someone else other than me is doing something I did, like,
and I think that's the big thing, and that's why I rate you for saying that, bro. But if we're being honest, if we ever had a discussion, like if we had a diasporan discussion like that, we'd get the biggest pushback for saying that.
Oh, 1,000%. That's why I say,
and that's the problem.
You can't. That's especially in talking to the family. You can't start there. You can't say this is a self-hate thing. You have to literally like go, look, like we welcome. You can even do like the equal thing. Like, well, you know, we live in China, you live in England. So if we live in China, you can live in Jamaica. It makes sense, right? Whatever, right? But then you go, well, the only difference is when we live in China, we respect Chinese customs and laws and stuff, right? And we don't try to change it based upon our feelings, right? You know what I mean? And also then we can parallel that. Unfortunately, because of history of anti-black racism, we're not treated the same. Now, I love you in Jamaica and Nigeria, how you recognize anti-racist bigotry, is a problem. So not to practice bigotry on Chinese and Europeans. And we respect that. And that's how we should always be, right? However, we don't then have to go the extra mile and start giving them ownership and making them the face of and not really analyzing some of the things they're saying. When they're saying things like, I've got a passport, so I'm more Jamaican than you, and change the curriculum. So this African unity thing is now everyone for one unity thing, whatever it is, right? It's a bit of a problem. And telling people they're not African, all this kind of stuff. It's very, very, very peculiar behavior, very colonization behavior, you know. So yeah, we definitely have to do that. But it's the approach. And let me just, I think I'm getting messages, but it's definitely the approach. Oh, there you go. It's just that. All right, cool. Yeah. So, family, any questions in the group? Brother Pan has not been voted in, and we know what he's going to say because he's put it in caps, so we understand the same stuff he's always says. So we wish him well. But any questions from the family? Any questions you want about this topic? If we should further extend it,
I think it's also good to mention that. I think on one of the things you showed, I think it was Harry. I don't think this was the M Dog. I think it was the guy who just showed, right, Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that actually it was a Jamaican that gave him his name. What does he call himself now?
White Yardie,
White Yardie, right? Yeah. And that needs to be said as well. Who used to know that the Jamaican weren't high off something, or do you know what I mean? Had a good stripe or a good rum, and now you're just saying that. But if you go to like a fire bingy. Yeah, it depends what Jamaican you're going to. If you go to a certain type of Rastafari, they're not calling you a white yard.
No.
You understand? And these are the little these are the little things within our culture because we're so diverse, just because we're one land. Like, I think sometimes people think it's just Africa. Like, for example, in Nigeria, there's like over 250 dialects, right? But in Jamaica, you have your you know what I mean, your citizen, you got your Rasta, you got different types of Rastas. Do you understand what I'm saying, bro? So for you to say on national TV that a Jamaican gave me my name, and if you know anything about nicknames, a Jamaican gives you one. I've been called Empress since I was like 10. Do you understand? Like, I just think like he's just not like, it's just, I just think it's so. And the thing is, I don't think he's doing it out of ignorance. I think he knows exactly what he's doing. Because he wouldn't go up to a fire bingy and be like, you need to talk to me and call me this and that, unknown what they think of him. Do you understand? So I just think that it's little things, like little intricacies that are so disrespectful for you to act like, well, a Jamaican, you know, a random Jamaican on I don't know what day, I don't know how good he was feeling, what he was intaking, called you a white yardie, and now therefore you are a white yardie. And we should all, do you know what I mean, bro? How does he not know that he was taking the mick out of him? Do you know what I mean? Just like, oh, look at this white boy, white yardie.
Two things. One, Brother Pan, the way you're talking about stage is your. Please don't do that. We're going to kick you from the studio, right? So don't talk to people that way, please. So two, I think code is important. And I'm going to say code is important. It isn't that the way something that is done is directly a problem, but in a context of white supremacy, right? In the context of, for example, so yeah, you can walk in and see a white person and go, why let's call him a white Yoruba or whatever, right? You know, you can do what you want, right? It's funny and it's everyone's laughing, but because that person can now trademark that, go on TV and have a brand and all that at a much higher rate than anyone around, you need to have a code, right? And it's just like we said here, like, it's good to see Europeans doing kind things and not practicing racism, right? But we have to have a code not to then start centering our show around that, because what happens, we will start creating the white savior complex, right? Or the white follow, only listen to the non-black person preaching certain things, and that's embedded in all of us, where anything we do can really go very extreme very quickly. So even though it's the right thing or the kind thing to do certain things, we can't do it because we don't have a structure in place to maintain it from going completely or feel just like, there's that guy M. Whatever his name is. He's now like, I don't like critiquing people's music because music's something that people really enjoy, blah blah blah. But from a technical standpoint, if you understand the music's making, they are far more skilled individuals who are much more seasoned in their activities and done it longer, who will never get the kind of airplay that person's getting because they are of a traditional background, right? But more importantly, because and further, he's getting the opportunity through co-signage of black people and then going back to a dominant industry that is run by his forefathers, white people. So that's why the real thing to do is ownership. Because when you have ownership, we're not going to sign him in it because he doesn't have the technicality. Just like Macklemore won a Grammy, and he should have won a Grammy because his forefathers made a ceremony, and they're giving him a ceremony. They're like, well done for being able to rap. There you go. But obviously, black people don't have that ceremony because we haven't made those institutions. Because if we did, there would be none of these non-black people who haven't paid their dues. Like there are very skilled non-black people who make black music, and you should give them their props. Unfortunately, there's also a whole load of people who get in just because it's a novelty. It's a novelty, and it's funny that this man's got an accent and he says these things, and give them £1,000 deal, whatever it is. So that's what's going on.
I see Mulatto's comment about me having a British accent. I just think that I could explain it to you, Mulatto, but I kind of think I'm going to leave that in the air for everyone to see and for you to see as well, because I feel like that's why people from your ilk and your mentality are just getting ripped apart recently. Like, you're showing the ignorance that you're just literally showing the ignorance from what you type, thinking that you're doing something and you're not. You just look like a clown, my brother. It doesn't matter if I have a British accent. What matters is how I was bred, what was within my culture, what I know. That's the difference between me and you. I know about my heritage from both of my parents. They made it a point. They made it so much of a point now that only as an adult I realize how important that is, because as a mother to myself, I can't now be the one to sit down and be the only grandparent when I look at a photo. Family who knows what I'm talking about. I'm never going to be that one. Do you see what I mean? And I just think, like, do you see what I mean though, bro? Like, this is the mentality. Like, because you're in Britain, let go of everything else. And as one of the brothers said, I think it was Brother Young, who was saying that, he was asking you a question actually, bro, about the growing patrons, the British patriotism that's growing and the expectation of black people to let it go. And then you see someone like Mule talking about, because of my accent, that should justify my culture, my beliefs, everything else.
Well,
do you see it? Like, the selloutness is...
So that's that question. But I think more important, just like we were looking at the African gentleman last week, and one thing, and we're going to try to unpack this. The internet is a unique place where people, like the word troll, we throw it around, but it's actually like an art form, isn't it? Right? Where you're constantly antagonistic. You're constantly to the point where it's no longer about an ideology. It's about a reaction. Like the science is the reaction, right? And that's why they don't get real reactions from me, because I understand the science. Right? I understand that there is no real argument coming from these people. There's a longing to be seen. There's a longing to be heard. And the gentleman we showed last week, the African brother, that you can tell, because nothing they say is progressional. Nothing they say is consistent. And they're like, imagine these conversations in real meetings. It just can't happen, where someone's just constantly just shouting antagonistic stuff and looking for like, this and that. They have the easiest job in the room. Look for something you can potentially exploit and run with it. But then at the end of the day, we have a foundation in it, and that's what it is. And it's like pro-blackness is our foundation. And
exactly.
Yeah.
And I
So-
think, and I love the way that you said to him, like, you know, we're kind of getting bored, because that's what they don't get. Like, this is one of the things I absolutely, like, I don't know how many years it was at this point now, but what really drew me to you, you know, because, and like I said, to me, you've got an element where if you pack this all up, you could literally be like a comedian to me, right? Because you have this Dave Chappelle thing about you, like, you say things subtly, and if you catch it, you catch it. If you don't, it goes over your head. But it cracks me up sometimes when, like, I'm listening. But I just do feel that, like, I just feel like some of them, they really don't get it, bro. Do you understand? Like, it literally, when you're saying it goes over their heads, like that saying, it literally does go over their heads, what you're saying. So no matter what you're saying at this moment now, because he can only hear a British accent, I therefore only have ate beans and toast. These times I couldn't even tell you how many, I couldn't even count on my one hand how much times I've had beans and toast. In my household, my father sitting down at a table and getting served beans and toast.
No, first of all, thanks for
like,
but yeah,
do you see what I mean, bro? So that's what I'm saying. I love the way that's what I was gonna say. Like, for me, I love the way that you said to him, like, it's boring now, because I honestly think, because where they go to, although it's an echo chamber, they're hearing the same thing, because what he's saying is nothing new. He must have heard someone else say it. He's repeating it and then thinking that no one else has heard it. That's the thing that I don't get. Like, I hope it's clear, like, for all of you lot that are trying to break some sort of unity, the bi-coastal, like, country to country, the infighting, this USA or Caribbean, Nigerian, UK, all of that, it's not landing. You try to make us hate our own men and women. We would never do that. We were the first people to put black men were the first men to idolize their women. You just have to go back home. You just have to go back home. You just have to go back home and see how many artifacts, how many living things that are still there, still in their present state, how many statues of women that you see men have put up of their women who look like me. So you can't do that. Do you understand? Like, you can only do that to an ignorant person. And I think the one thing, like I said, that really got me to, like, to like I said at the beginning, like, because obviously we don't want to Uma. So at the beginning, I always look, I wait, I check. And with you, you've been consistent. You've always stuck to it. Even if I've seen you get a bunch of black men around you, like, wanting you to diss a black woman, and you just standing 10 toes down, bro. But I think one of the biggest things that made me laugh was you coming out with your booklet. Like, if there's nothing to tell you that it's not new, the fact that you can say something to Raven, you'll be like, hold on, let me go to, because we've had this before, let me go to section 2 and then bring it up. Doesn't that show you that, like, it's a dead rhetoric? Do you see what I'm saying, bro?
Yeah, and thank you for that.
I just think that, like, you know, the fact that you can go to different slides and things like that shows people like me all that anything you're saying is nothing new.
Nothing new.
Like, we've heard it, like, not once, not 10 times, not 50 times, but 1,000 times before. Because people with your rhetoric have 3 or 4 points and you just repeat it.
Of course. And that's a very good point you raised. Like, we've heard it so many generations that we can put into booklets. So when you speak, and that's why every time I will go in certain places, I just open the booklet and people stop talking. Because at a certain point, they think I have some kind of supernatural power. But it's like, no, it's just we're well aware. It's like, it's very simple. Black unity, isn't it? That's it. It's like, you know, it makes sense for people of African descent to work together for a betterment. Yeah, it always has. Other people groups understand this basic thing. But more importantly, whenever these people come in and they say they're consistent, antagonistic rhetoric, it's hard for us to really do this. But actually, rather than listen to what they're saying, try to imagine why they're saying it. What trauma and anxiety have they gone through where this is the most easiest response for them to do, where they say so dedicated to go into unity kind of forums to just spread hatred. And when you start thinking like that, you start actually really, I don't want to use the term feel sorry for people because I don't want to patronize at all, but you understand that this isn't normal behavior. Like, and we wish these brothers all well and stuff, but this constant, like, saying the same thing over and over again, trying to convince people that up is down and left is right. there's something going on. There's a psychology that one day we were able to help.
I agree. Do you remember a brother called Tan that used to go to Speaker's Corner? Right?
Yes, I remember him very well. Right. Yes.
You see the comparison there with the names Tan. You see, and these people are paid by white supremacists to come in and to do this divide.
Talk the truth, talk the thing, brother.
Yes,
Tell them.
You know, it's the truth.
Yeah, well, let me say this, because some people think that sometimes we say things and it might be like a bit, conspiracist and stuff. Let's make it in a more simple way. There was brothers who will come to when I was speaking Speaker's Corner, and just from a direct standpoint, they will be speaking against black love of black women and all this kind of stuff, whatever. And on their streams, they were being like funded as they were speaking and streaming there by anti-black racists, whatever, just by doing it. So even if it was deliberate or not deliberate or just by osmosis, we saw in it that they'll literally being paid to go to this and have these kind of talking points. And but then there's a saying that I saw on, I think it was, I forgot the brother's name, but the white supremacists, after they use their tools, they break their tools. And that's what we see so many of these brothers. They think that they're going to get brownie points by doing this stuff. But once they've done their job, there's no seat for them in the white supremacist kind of halls. They're not going to become generals in their army. They're going to break their tools and dismantle them. And Tan, he's been sent, I think he might be sent. He's from either Indonesia or Malaysia or some Asian kind of country. I don't know where he's from. But But then once again, he's
we
part
need
of
to
that
do a
whole
topic on that though, bro. What you and Qatari is talking about, because I do think that it is still stuck on what did you say? Conspiracy theorists. At this point, it's really not like Tariq Nasheed really needs a bring up, bro. Like, I definitely nominate him to come up onto the panel, like onto the field, bro, because I feel like he needs to get a good run through as well. Because I've been telling you, I just don't feel it with him. And I watched a video. And someone literally brought up a video, so it's him talking, and you hear him saying, this is a few years back, saying that I could have got money. Like, there's this thing going on. This is a few years back. You saw it, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? So for the family, he said, although I don't know, brother Dominic could probably get it in 2.2 seconds. I know how your peoples are around it, but for the family, he just literally said, like, and this wasn't that long ago, it was a few years ago, just before the FBA and all of this thing come up, and you can literally see him in the video saying, I've literally been approached by white supremacists and I could get a lot of money right now if I did infighting. This was at the point of maybe just after Hidden Colors, when he was going back and forth to the continent, he was doing businesses, and he's like, there's a big push, like you could hear it, like, bro, we need to, when you bring, like, I nominate, the family gets to nominate topics, I nominate Tariq, and I want this video in there when you're doing your breakdown. And you can hear him saying, like, it's white supremacists, and like, you can hear him, like, almost like surprised, like, they really want to push this on us, like, they're offering me money to start some sort of war with my family in the Caribbean, the African. I mean, look how ironic it is a couple of years later. Now look at him.
I would say, and the same thing I say about brother Tariq, same thing I say about brother Umar and brother Boy Sportskins and a few other people who, they were like some of the early guys on the internet who had that. I don't know if they were kind of sort of in the conscious community, and they were saying a lot, and they were getting a big push from just creating this kind of grassroots mentality, and the things they've said and done were good things, and eventually in different areas they start seeing certain cracks here and there where it might be, right? And we have to unpack that. But what I always tell myself is, because if I see a people who start in a certain place, I always give them the benefit of the doubt to have a conversation, to actually try to unpack, to see what is where this mismanagement might have happened, or where misunderstanding, or just working for the opposition, whatever it might be, depending on what the evidence show, right? And I think with people like him, I think he might suffer from what, like, a lot of this is saying that if he is someone who is working for the black community, he might suffer from what a lot of Speaker's Corner people come from, where they enter they're in their personal life, they have this very slapdash cussy kind of approach to everything, right? Also, if you cuss me, I'll cuss you, and I'm gonna go the extra mile to destroy you, right? And when I went to Speaker's Corner, that was a lot of them, that's how it was, right? And there's a history of why people might be that way, right? And they don't want to hold back in any, for the most avenues. And then what happens is now they keep doing that, and they get more popular, not knowing that this kind of name calling rhetoric and being very harsh and not recognizing where you kind of are.
Hold on, bro. I agree with you, but do you think Tariq was that person? The only reason why I'm pushing back on that, right, is because Tariq at that point was the man who did Hidden Colors. Like, what are we on? Volume 4. He's the man who did ATO 800 and whatever for the Haiti Revolution. So he was already, he was that guy, like you said.
No, let me push back on you, sis. And that is, and this is now where I kind of stand alone, unfortunately, and that is, I appreciate Umar Johnson, Tariq, and these kind of guys, and nothing I say should undermine any good work they've done. But when you look at who influenced them, right? The Francis Cresswellskins, the Neely Fuller Jr., the Claude Andersons, the Khalid Abdul Muhammad, the Louis Farrakhan's, you name it, right? It keeps going on. When you look at them, when you look at their interviews and how they conduct themselves versus how this YouTube generation conducts themselves, the YouTube generation will never have been allowed in the platforms that they were in using the same mentality they have now, right? And I think because we're in this kind of like slapdash quick click culture, that you can have that kind of behavior and get high. But the thing is, PR is important, right? How you represent yourself is important. And unfortunately, this behavior that gets high clicks doesn't care about PR, right? And what you're seeing now, and I don't know about behind the scenes if anyone's been bribed or conning, I don't know. I'm just talking about what a person presents, yeah? And what they present before, as they were doing these amazing works, is someone who had low PR or didn't care about the discipline that the Francis Cresswellson had and the Claude Anderson and the Khalid Abdul Muhammad. They didn't care about.
But okay, so let me understand where you're pushing back, because I'm no way putting them on the same level as.
No.
So you didn't think I was doing that, right?
No, of course not. What I was saying was that you were saying that he done all these good things and now he's doing these things that are questionable.
Yeah, I'm saying that. What I'm saying is, I agree. I actually agree with you on that principle, right? But with Tariq, I'm thinking he already had that like he was known within the culture. He was known. He did like how many Hidden Colors? Don't you think he already had that?
But what I'm saying is,
or whatever, the crowd following.
Hear this. What I'm saying is this.
That's why I feel like the white supremacists went to him. Because he was that guy to go to.
Everyone has probably been approaching some method, I assume, right? But I'm saying that as he was, the way he's speaking now isn't really different from how he was speaking in how he delivers things, right?
You talk about his principles and how he.
Yeah. So, and I don't like bringing things up, but what's remarkable about someone like him, and this is me being kind, is he came from a kind of slapdash kind of like, making rap,
like a pimp daddy or something.
Yeah, and books about how to find women and stuff. I'm all power to him. But he was also reading about Francis Cresswellson and this kind of stuff, right? And he managed to change himself into a DVD director or whatever it is, and with no history, and be successful. And he was consistent with it, and he did get a lot of scholars paid, right? And he made a product. So all power to him. But while he was doing it and he was doing all these videos and stuff, he's demeaning.
And I heard he paid for Francis Cresswellson's.
He did, and he did a lot. He's done a lot of things as well.
He's done a lot of good. Yeah,
he has. And what I'm saying is, I generally believe, that he seems to be reacting to a negative element in a way that is hard to manage from the angle he's at, and that is, he was very happy with the diaspora and stuff, hence why he came to England, hence why he got to Africa, and this kind of stuff, right? His issue seems to have come from, this is what I tried to cover a few weeks back, with people of a non-African American background being on channels talking against things like reparations. And I remember when it first started happening, because his tone started changing, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I mean, it's been a couple of years now, but that's what I noticed, and that's why we started covering this concept of is there a connection with people who come from the diaspora, i.e. Nigeria, Uganda, whether it is, and Jamaica, and they go to America? Do they feel connected to the African American experience and how they spoke? And of course they are, but we understand that the reasons why the people are, they have an ideology that makes them feel that way, i.e. Garveyism, Pan-Africanism, Black nationalism. Well, if they don't have that, if they're just like, I'm trying to make better of my life, so I'm going from my country to your country, people with those mentalities, there's a high ratio of them actually saying, well, the best thing to do is not to associate with African Americans, and 2 steps above that, actually work against them. Because if you actually work against them, you actually get more opportunities, right? So that's the angle that we tried to cover many years of the people. And that's what we're saying. Without an ideology, you're always going to be anti-Black, because you can be rewarded. And that's what you were talking about earlier. People who are getting rewarded for actually talking against in some Black good ideas. So when brothers like Umar and Boyce Watskin and Tariq, who preach pro-Blackness, also are preaching either footage or ideologies or concepts that can be used or are used or are against any kind of Black unity, then I give them the benefit of the doubt to try to see what they're saying. But I don't do the name calling straight away.
Okay, I think on this one,
go ahead.
We're going to disagree on this one. I see where you're coming from now. I don't think it's that. I hear what you're saying now, but I think personally he's a grifter, because he started with, like what we said, the catching girls and everything else. He did this, and then he did the the whole pro-Black things with the, like you said, the DVD hustling and stuff.
Yeah.
And now he's doing this because I feel like he's been contacted, because he said he's been contacted loads of times, been offered money, and now he's just flipped the script. I can't get with, I'm not saying that there's not some ignorant people from the Caribbean and Africa who have done that, but I cannot randomly, amount of times that people from the Caribbean, how long that African and Caribbean people have been traveling to America, only in the last couple of years has this started to happen. Why have we not heard about this around the civil rights era? Why have we not heard about this all these other times? Because they were there. They were there around the hip hop era. But all of a sudden, now is the time, and all now we haven't found it. Like, I'm looking for this African leader who is in Africa screaming this nonsense. Like, I was listening to another person and he was so accurate. He's in America, but he was from Haitian descent. And he said, who are these people? Like, who is this individual? You just keep saying these Africans, but who? Like, give me a person. And up to now, up to last week, I never saw a person until you showed me this guy. And I thought, there we go. We've finally got a face and a name for this boogeyman. And and everything screamed to me last week of a man that's like, he's just looking for, he's a grifter.
But sister, the way I see it is, it's very easy to find an African or Caribbean who loves African Americans and those who don't love African Americans. It's very easy, right? Because that's the internet.
Yeah, but hear what I'm saying though, bro. So what would make you, as clever as you are, as knowledgeable as you are, 4 good volumes about the Caribbean and Africa, right? All this knowledge. Like, look at you, bro. Look at Shakara, even Umar. You don't think they've had ignorant people from Caribbean and Africa come to them? That makes them now all of a sudden change their whole, imagine, like, that's like, look, like, think about it, bro. You've done 4 volumes about the continent only to be the man that hates the continent, people from the continent.
Well, the thing is, sister, and this is
like, scream grifter, bro.
Well, I'm not going to say the brother isn't or is, right?
I know you can't, but what I'm saying is,
I think the internet might actually breed a culture where if you make your money off the internet, that's your job, right?
That's a grifter, though. You're going with whatever's trendy, then. If you're making your money off the internet, you do whatever's trending.
For me, sister, I'm bound by code, right? Because I'm bound by
so am I, bro. But that's not fair, because I think I'm bound by code as well. But I do believe that one of our biggest issues is that we don't talk up the thing till it's too late. We wait till the women have been raped and it's been 50 different women and it's happened along this time and to the end. Like, if we're not going to talk the thing truthfully,
we should.
Like, you don't have to say he's a grifter, bro. But to say that, okay, he might have heard one or two people saying something, but you're Mr. like hidden colors. You're Mr. pro-black. You're Mr. the continent and the history. And because you heard 1-2 man talk about something ignorant, you've just flipped your whole script.
What I would say is the way I would handle it is if people have a list of what is being accused, right? As in, like, you do this and this is wrong, right? Because what I tend to do is I tend to go, look, there seems to be an argument about African Americans and Africans and Caribbeans, right? And now I can say that, what is it that is happening that you're not best pleased with? And if the response was, well, you know, we want reparations and Caribbeans want to stop it, I'll go, stop.
What Caribbeans though, bro? This is what I'm saying. Name them. You can't just do that though, bro. You can't just say Caribbeans. Where are they?
Honestly, so I'm giving you a tactic at the moment. So the tactic is this: you talk to them and they say, well, someone's trying to stop reparations. Rather than saying name, and go, okay, well, I'm a Caribbean and I support African Americans getting reparations that was in the past, the present, and the future. So regardless of and is there any other Caribbean who supports this? And you'll see it. So you actually start getting arguments down of like, here's our arguments, here's what we're for, here's what we're against. And then we can actually start seeing, okay, here's what it's, because what we tend to do is, you've done this, you did that, who's this, who's that? And it's like it becomes an internet thing where it's like, can you name this, can you name it? It's almost like, what's your grievances? Oh, well, I'm with you. Yeah, and then it goes, so now that when you're speaking, know that these 17 people are with you and we support you via this ideology, either pro-blackness, or black betterment, or pan-Africanist, or whatever it is. These ideologies are synchronized with you, right? So what you're saying is, just like you're going to have African Americans who are unsynchronized or whatever, you're going to get diasporas who are unsynchronized. And we understand that anti-black racism and all the rest of it is at the heart of it. Once again, so we've seen this chapter before, but what I won't do is the name calling the back and forth thing. I'll be literally like, okay, what's the problem? Here's a solution. Now that I've given you the solution and that we're showing you that these are the people for it, will this continue in the same way it's been doing? You know, when I see Tariq speak on these
But
kind
bro,
of
you
platforms,
don't think he's seen any black people that are for? He's never
I
seen.
do. But here's what it is: if when I've seen him speak on platforms recently, right? They ask him, they'll say things like, "You're anti this, you're anti that," and then he explains his position. How he explains his position on a platform is very different of how he interacts on a
on his own personal live stream.
And on, I thought they call that Clubhouse and this kind of like environment where you go and you start name calling and people start muting you, whatever, right? And what happened, and this is like Speaker's Corner, right? So Speaker's Corner, we had a similar thing where there was environments where it was just cursing each other for 20 hours, and they were content to go on. They enjoyed it. And I was like, I'm not going to really go on that because that's not really what I'm about, right?
So what you're saying, because he's from that ilk, it's just the way that he represents. It's going to come out that way because that's how he defends his position.
If a man is a liar, he's a liar, and I can't speak on a lie. But you can ask someone, look, I'm from the Caribbean, and I support African Americans.
Yeah, but bro, I've seen people come on his panel saying that to him, and he would just dismiss, like, he'll be like, well, that's just you, but a bunch of your other ones, and he'll slew them.
What I've heard is people like him and him say that we're for all the what they call riders, from the Caribbean and Africa, but we're against, and then they've got these tethers, and they say a tether is what they say is a person who comes into the land and they use their connection to undermine, and they've got all these ideologies.
But they say that we've all fled, bro, as well. In the same breath, they'll say that everyone's fled.
But okay, so I don't want to come across like, because for me it's more conversation to demonstrate something rather than to say, well, they say this, we say this, because what will happen is when we're not here, an African American will go, yeah, but they said this, and it will literally be that all the time. So it's like, okay, here's what
but that's my whole point, though, bro. Yeah. As it's one thing just being an individual online, right?
Yeah.
But it's another person where you are a point of some form of leadership, or people come to you, right? And maybe this does tie into what you're saying in regards to the way you need to present yourself and be as an individual if you're talking on behalf of black people and things like that, right? Like your tone, or no swearing, or this maybe this is probably evidence to what you're saying if you're really saying along that route, right? And maybe I could understand from that route. But with Tariq, with this guy, right? You know that you're in some form of a leadership position here. You are the guy who gave us 4 hidden colors. You gave us Haiti. You were like he used to be bashing them hard. Like he was on the right side, bro. So you're telling me as the leader, not one of your little minions, not one of your minions that just sit and live on the internet. As a leader, you're saying because you saw or read a comment that at the back of your mind is probably either a bot or someone that's just never left their basement, and you've changed your whole thing. My thing is, bro, if you're going to make a whole movement to cause division, I beg you show me the individual. At this point, it's these Africans, these Caribbeans. There's not an individual yet, bro, to prove this point. You've not shown me someone, bro. They've not shown me anybody who sit on any sort of panel or anything of worthiness who has said these things, how he has said them. Yet a lot, like many of them, like the way he talks, you'd think there's thousands of Caribbeans and Africans who are against reparations. These times, the first time anybody who's from the UK or anyone from Caribbean descent even would know, the first time they heard about reparations was from probably someone from the Caribbean. Jamaicans have been talking about reparations way before I've heard any American talk about it.
Well, sister, the way you've
so how can you say that we're against it all of a sudden?
Like I said, I've been doing this for many years, and it's a very passionate topic, and it's one of the ones where I have a path that I go, because I know that if I stray off the path, it will literally be me versus, right? And I don't think that's a necessary thing, versus. It's more so a conversation.
Yeah, but is it versus or weren't we talking about talking the truth though a couple of weeks ago, where we have to just talk it for what it is?
I could tell you the truth that I see, and the truth that I see is that there's 4 people like him and Umar and all these other wonderful people and people from the UK were doing their work. Their behavioral pattern is inevitable that this is going to happen. It's inevitable, right? It was happening earlier, but people just didn't care for it. And it is when you have no PR and you want to have a hip hoppy kind of like parental discretion advised way of communicating, and that's just normal. When you go on these platforms, you are going to offend people like he's been offending now, because you're going to use certain jokey terms and
so you feel like it's just the way that he's presenting it, but deep down he doesn't have an anti-African, anti-Caribbean sentiment. You just think it's the way it's coming out.
One would say it's very shocking. I haven't met any black podcaster from anywhere in the diaspora who doesn't have a level of anti-blackness.
Right, I know that, bro. We all know that, right? We've all agreed on that. I've said that. We're all everyone. Like no one's immune to that. You, me, everyone in the world who's black is all susceptible to colonialism and the propaganda. But that's not what I'm saying, though, right? I'm asking you. Yeah. Although we've all got that, some of us still try to move and do the work daily, don't we? To make sure it don't show up. To make sure that we're reprogramming people who come here each week to support your ting. It's not that we're not subjected to propaganda. It's just that we're doing the work to make sure that we have a different, although the propaganda came to us, for us, I don't know, it didn't hit as well. We didn't get subjected. We're not sellouts, right? Okay, so we've all got that, every single one, right? So what I'm saying to you about Tariq, though, are you saying that you don't think he has, and like when he's doing the work, you think he's still the Tariq of Hidden Colors then? And the reason why he's shown up this way at the moment is because he can't articulate himself correctly.
I don't really have anything to back up. I think that I suspect someone like him was always non-African conforming. And what I mean by that is, if you look at his history, he doesn't have that much of a connection to Africa in wording. He used words like Moors and this kind of stuff. He never used the word African on any of his packaging. I know it's straight away, right? But I was like, okay, because when you deal with the conscious community, there's different sects of Islam and Hebrews and more, and it's like, okay, they got different whatever. So I noticed that. So cool. Yeah, even his name comes from I assume a conqueror from the Moorish Empire. So he was always more connected to a certain style of Africa rather than maybe the more, traditional Africa that most people will know of. And he never used the term. His thing was a melanoid nation. He never used any Africa term at all. But he did.
Interesting.
So I'm saying, okay, so I think that it was just a matter of time before something happens where the disconnect with Africa was the easiest thing for him to do, because I don't think he was connected to a concept of blackness, like you're black, I'm black, right? But Africanity and that, and claiming a continent, he's always been, probably, I assume, very stuck in he's American, right? And he people built the planet. Not the planet, sorry. He built America, so that's where he wants to go. And people like him, and he can speak for himself. I don't know him. He might even be offended to any concept of back to Africa movements, right? So what you have in it, just like you have the religious people have their religious stuff, but they're pro-black, and you have the land people and they're pro-black. There's so many pro-black people, but they're not fully on board in certain aspects of return to Africa.
They pick and choose their pro-blackness.
Yeah. But that's very normal in the black community, right? And what we do is we appreciate that there's any form of pro-blackness, because it's very easy to be anti-black, right?
Yeah.
So, and this, me personally, I appreciate every effort from these brothers and sisters who I call like in the internet world, but I can see from the very first word they say that at some point there's going to be someone saying, what are you doing? Because what happens when they do good deeds, we give them 1,000 points, and when they do bad deeds, we take away 1,000 points. You see? So, but I'm just like, I'm appreciative that you do kindness here for black people, but
but is he doing kindness at the moment though, bro? That's what I'm saying. Like, are we just holding, like, is this one of the things that we need to do better on? Like, are we holding on to what he did before and therefore not making him accountable and then classing it on code? Because you see me, I believe I'm on a code, but I realized, and I told you this, I realized that, I give the code to those who abide by the code.
Yeah, I hear that. But
and so therefore, if you had done hidden colors, I will never. I've got them.
Yeah,
I've got them. You know what I mean? This is why I'm talking. Listen, bro. I don't talk like this if I don't think you're anything, I don't care. I say this all the time in my real life, all the time. If I'm coming hard at something or someone, it's because I see better or I'm disappointed. Do you understand? I was a supporter, so therefore, if I'm a support, and this is the same thing with Uma, right? If we supported you, and Uma has the audacity to speak to people like he don't have to come back and talk to the people who support him. And this is exactly what I was saying before. This is why we need to have this element. This is actually being on code. Because I'm looking at my code and I'm looking at what this Tariq guy's doing, and you ain't measuring up, brother.
Well, let me say this about Brother Umar. Let me say this about Brother
Umar. And I want to say something about Umar as well to you, right? Because there's been a lot of things that have come on, and since you've said what you said about Umar, I'm not going to lie, a lot of things that you said, I can see where you're coming from. Like, for example, with Tariq now and Umar, this thing when you were saying that I'm not quick to say scammer. Do you remember when you was talking like that and you was explaining it to us and stuff, right? Yes. I do believe that Uma did not, and this is obviously just Kush's opinion, right? It's not fact. But I do believe that Uma didn't start off thinking, I'm going to scam.
Yeah.
Okay. I believe Uma got out of his depth and we are where we are now. With Tariq now, when you was a playboy, how to get women, pimp daddy, rapper, do you understand? It's giving off grifter. It's giving off, let me jump on any trend that goes. And at one point, it was trendy within us to be pro-black and give the knowledge. That was a big thing, right? You had the whole Sarnetta and all of that and all of this. This was a thing, bro. This was, although to some people it was a real thing, to others it was a quote-unquote trend. You make a video saying, raw, I am getting pounded. I don't know what is going on, but these white supremacists are begging me to start a diaspora war. And all of a sudden we get FBA. And if I talk about that, I'm against the code. No, I'm on the code.
Well, FBA is a different thing. FBA is
I don't know what it is. Sorry, I keep on mixing them together. But you know what I mean, bro.
Yeah. But
that's another strand.
No, but that's his kind of coinage, and that's him trying to have a word to describe African Americans who are descendants of enslaved on the land of America. That's his word. So when he's talking, he wants to be able to easily connect. And then when he's trying to get reparations, he's saying it's for, because African American might now mean everyone from Africa who's in the Americas, right? Apparently. So that's what they're alleged. That's what they're saying. And for me, it's just, yeah, you said a lot of things, and with the Umar thing, that's important about maybe he was like, I don't know. All I know is I saw problematic behavior, and this is me being kind, on everything they've done, right? And this is the more important point. They're not a part of any institutions, meaning they are individual champions. So Umar is in charge of Umar's institution, and Brother Tariq is in charge of Brother Tariq's institution. So I can't approach the elders and say, listen, this guy's on camera saying some crazy stuff, or is he okay? Because we should check in on him, okay? Because they're in charge of their own destiny, and what's happened is they've got to their limits with that power, right? But this is why even though the Nation of Islam have had their ups and downs, I have to respect the fact that there's a hierarchy in it. There's a rule. There's a code, and if something goes wrong, I can talk to the elder. Listen, one of your guys is on the internet saying that, blah 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 blah.
Very true.
And that's why I'm saying institutions over individuals. Remember the ideology as well here.
Yeah.
And so.
And I want you to know, like, just in case anyone else can see someone saying that you're like, but that was Dr. Umar talking, so I know it's his child. But I just want to say as well, like, I think that this is what real building is like, and I think it's important for people to see that, because like when I first discovered this whole internet thing, they said that Pan-Africans were airy-fairy, but the Pan-Africans that I know are the most, if anything, they're the most cynical. Do you understand? Like, you really have to prove your point. So to me, it's like, I think it's important though, bro, that you offer this platform so I can have this talking. Do you understand? Because we are both on the same code. Do you understand? But we might interpret it differently. And this is what I tell people when they come to me or they ask me questions or they want to ask me about this, like what I'm into and stuff. And I keep telling them, like, there isn't, once you conform to, like, I'm black, I'm proud of being black, I want to see black people win, then you are, do you know what I mean? You're basic, and black family, of course, you're there. Do you understand? And any opinion is valid. And I think that what we tend to see on most panels and things like that, or podcasts with people still watching things like that, like, people don't really get pushback, or they can't really speak. Do you understand? So I appreciate that, because I don't want it to be like, I know that you don't feel that way, but I just want to make it clear that it's not a back and forth. I just feel that, but I do feel that this messy area, bro, it's going to keep being messy because of things like this. I think that's why I love that we use real life examples, right? So Umar and Tariq, that's messy. It's not just a clear line of a sellout. They did offer a lot to the community, but at this point now, I don't think what they're doing is healthy. And me saying that and let me just finish on this point, bro. This is when I'm saying I don't see it's healthy. Others might not see other leaders as healthy. The problem is, if we speak up, are you against the code? Or you see people doing things and you not just let them do it, or the other things that we get told, right? And I think that's why we should be able to talk about something not being healthy without it seeming like I'm slamming them. I know that I called him a grifter. So I get why you can't say that. And that's why I appreciate you. I can say that because you're going to keep the balance. Do you understand? But I do believe that voices are necessary. And when, you gave me my hidden colors. Do you see it? Like, you gave me some knowledge. Umar, you were like the loudest speaking black man talking about respect your queens. Like, you know what I mean? I can give you your flat. Umar as well would say he's an African, on the back of what you were saying about Tariq, the Moors and stuff like that. He would never refer to himself as African, which I never really realized. But I know Umar did. Right. And he so there's different things, like, as you're saying, that I just think that I like conversations like this, right? Because as I'm saying, there are things that they have done. And I think that I think it's fine for me to say that they did those things and they're still valid now. You know, it's not that I'm going to chuck Hidden Colours out. It's still staying in my home. But what I'm saying is what he's doing now is not healthy. And me speaking up against it is what we need to start getting in the habit of. And perhaps, bro, instead of shutting that down, educating on the best way to do that.
I agree.
The best way of doing that, because had someone been able to talk up earlier about Uma, we might not have been here 14 years later.
What you're saying
Had
is
someone spoke up about Polite, you know, some of the other abuses never happened.
Well,
or if the people who were getting abused felt comfortable in a pro-black space to say, I'm getting hurt, which they should be able to do. Had that have been okay, and there's ways that we've said that, listen, if something's going bad, or we can love on people, but the code is the code, and this is how we have to move forward. We don't have to bash them. Fair enough, don't go Kushti's way. Don't go and call him a grifter. But if something is untowards, we need to be able to highlight it.
So, and the sister spoke very well there, and we give thanks. And I say the same thing I said when I first came on the scene, and that is, there should be a decorum way how we present ourselves and what we're doing, and we should be transparent and have an organization where we can actually be held to accountable. And unfortunately, from the get-go, that was never what people who are very successful in this scene are. And that's in the UK as well, I noticed, right? Where the personalities of that individualism and that going for it and speaking loud and speaking truth to power and saying what's on your heart works well. But it only goes to certain points. And now when I'm asking people, what is it, these people who were once the number one people in their field, what is it that they're doing that we're not happy with now? And a lot of the things say is they said these words, they said this, or they've said this kind of derogatory term. Like, all right, so it does actually come down to language delivery, right? Like when someone is
just thinking that it goes hand on what you've been saying from the get-go.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is
from the absolute get-go.
So what happens is someone is now speaking and they're saying we need to raise money for the mother effing schools, and it was like, yeah, and it's like the swear word and that stuff doesn't matter anymore because it's a good thing. But then something goes wrong and they go, oh, those mother effing women and then their genitalia and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, oh, hold on. He's now using the same kind of language, but it's in a negative form. But we're so used to it in a positive form that we're just accepting it. And now money's being lost. Now we're going to go back and review everything that's.
You know what, bro? I have to say that I have to take that. That one is a gem. It's true, and I think that when you put it in real life experiences and circumstances, you can see it. Because I've been guilty of that. I'll let so much things slide and stuff like that because I'll say it's passion and things like that. But then when they're saying stuff so low ball, I'll be like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
But it's like your smart brain will say, well, did he give you any inkling that he was on that level, that he was capable to even be able to approach that or speak in that way or deal with that incidents in an appropriate manner? No. And this goes down to because we just take the crumbs, bro, because we don't have nothing. Like he might just be, you know, just the wrong of the wrong of the wrong, but at least he loves his people. At least he loves his sisters. You know what I mean? It is bad. Like that is such a good example, bro.
And that's really what it is. And what I'm saying, the same logic that connects those dots then is connected even now of responding to that. Right, and that is like, okay, a claim's been made. So what we need to now, because people are clearly falling down in certain areas, we need to ask with love and passion. Is there any way we can help? There's certain things but when we help, we can't help someone who operates in these ways. You see, and when we're to help, but if they can't then humble themselves after they've like, because obviously we're talking about Tariq, but now we're talking about Umar. I don't know because it's what he's revealing, but he's now doing dates with women for $500 and for raising money, this kind of stuff. And maybe if he was in a winning situation, that could be, you know, a trendy internet kind of ha-ha thing, whatever. But in the context of what's been happening, it's now not looking too good. So now you can offer like, well, we have probably better ways of you getting money, but we need to see books and we need to have hierarchy so we can actually hold people accountable. And if that doesn't happen, then unfortunately, I'm not saying it can or can't be. I'm just saying that it's become more of a write-off scenario where you appreciate what a person has done in the past, but then they don't have the capacity to continue.
All right, I know I'm taking you over time, so
That's fine.
I'm grateful. But what I'm saying is, okay, you've done that for Uma, so how would we do that for Tariq then?
So for Tariq, it's like Tariq is allegedly reacting to a problem. So Tariq is like, I'm Mr. Pro-Black. I've come out. I've made DVDs. I go to England. I go to South Africa. I'm pro-Black. I love pro-Black. All of a sudden, I live in America, and I'm very big on these principles, as in reparations and all this kind of stuff. But I'm seeing people who are Black like me, who are from other lineages, saying, do not give African Americans reparations, and it's actually quite widespread, and it's a consistent thing. I'm like, okay.
But bro, come on, that's what I'm saying. You've given how is it widespread, bro? We've got to stick to the facts, bro. What we saying? A bunch of bots on what a bunch of random.
This is the thing, sis. Please understand that what he says, I don't care, and what I mean by that is, and let me be honest. Someone is saying something that is an issue. We then pull it.
Okay, so you're saying it from his point of view, basically.
Yeah. So he can say the thing is the sun is made of ice. I go, okay, well let's now get temperatures.
All right, my bad. All right, I get you. Now.
Okay, cool. Now you said that. Now we're going to make a campaign to see how many people actually are with you and how against you. If there is a against you, me as a diaspora and as someone who's from a non-African American ethnic group, I'm going to work to correct that. Right? So I'm going to do what white people don't do. Meaning that when you complain that there's racism, white people don't fix it, right? So if you complain within the diaspora that there's anti-African American sentiment, whatever, well, it's good for those who from our thing to correct it. So I'm going to correct it. Now, did I do this before this issue came out? Of course. So I'm just going to continue it. But what I'm doing, I'm now making it a thing, right?
What about his anti-Caribbean and African rhetoric, though? We're just going to let him keep doing that. We're not going to question that.
No, we're definitely going to question that, yeah. But the thing is, what I'm aware is whenever there's this issue that someone is starting, if I go, what about, it then becomes what about.
No, but we're going to question Uma about in your same example. We're going to question Uma in regards to his spending and money and things like that. But with him, we're just going to be like, okay, brother, let's just show you that it's not like that. All he has to do, all he has to do is look to the continent, bro. All you have to do is prove you're Black, and they're willing to take you in. Yeah, all he has to do is look at other Pan-African organizations.
Right. Well, this is a very, like I said, I've been doing this for years, right? And I'm saying that this is the way how I get responses, right? And it's like, this is going to be the hardest thing anyone's ever going to know, right? And that is, I'm generally not offended by people's ignorance, right? I expect it, right?
No, I know you're not.
But what I would say,
I genuinely know you're not as well. A lot of people say that, but you really are not.
What I would say is, I understand you can be ignorant, and I understand that if the original statement is they want betterment for a certain thing that correlates with Black betterment, I'm going to support them. So I'm aware that brothers like Tariq and Uma and these kind of people, they generally want Black people across the world to be constructive and work together. But allegedly, something is broken down, right? So we can actually now unpack that and go, okay, we're going to fix it. But as we're fixing this, you're saying these terms, right? You can either not say these terms or make very clear that this term means unsynchronized Caribbeans, but a good Caribbean is this term, right? So you can say, when I'm working, I don't want to work with the tethers, I want to work with the supermen, or whatever the term is, whatever you call it, right? So now you're making it clear that it's not a Caribbean or African thing. It's just like there's bad African Americans, there's bad Afro Jamaicans, right? And this has been the thing. So just like you've got a term for someone who's unsynchronized, let's make a term for someone who's synchronized. So that synchronized person can declare that when they come in your space, and they can say a word, and that word means I support reparations, I support African Americans, I support blah, 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 done. And that way you have a balance. So it's how do you create a balance from miscommunication or whatever whatever is motivating some element of bad press or whatever, I don't know.
No, and you were consistent, because in the end you did get there, because what you're saying about Uma was the same thing. How can we help you to get to where you need to be?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then with Tariq, you said that, how can we help you understand that you need to identify the individuals that you're talking about instead of just brushing them all with the same brush?
So
Although if we understood we was all a people, we'd understand a sellout is a sellout is a sellout. You know what I mean? It's all one.
Right?
You don't have to get a different word for someone who's a sellout who's in one island or other island. But I guess that's just kush, isn't it? Like for me, it's just a sellout is a sellout.
What's happening is there's a particular danger, and this is what they're allegedly claiming, and I guess it's true on paper in the sense of there's a person who has no stake in the land they've come to, right? As in they have no history there, but they do have their blackness can be used as a tool to undermine someone. And the reason why they don't feel the pain is because they're not connected to that land. So it might hurt someone of an African American background to mock Malcolm X than someone who just comes from a land where they didn't learn that in their school and he's just another black guy, right? Vice versa. You see,
and I think that is a good. I think, and I overs that. Like I'm definitely humbled on that point because I feel like that's where I think there's a lot of similarities with our brothers and sisters from America. I think if only they knew that, like for like especially for my generation, they were the representation of black we could see. Do you understand? Yeah. So there's a different kind of affinity with them because we are both black in a Western country.
Yes.
Do you understand? Whereas in Africa or Jamaica, it's predominantly black.
It's a different dynamic.
Do you understand? So it's like there's so much similarities that we face.
Yes.
So many similarities because we are black in a Western country, right? But I think that one of the biggest difference is that it is very rare for me to find a black person who affiliates with Britain. Do you understand? Like I am British. I care what happens to Britain. I like, even though we understand that Windrush literally and other and people from the diaspora had done so much for this country, we don't have the same way we look at it. Like Americans, like this was built off of the slaves of enslaved people's back. Do you understand? And therefore, and I've said this before, I totally understand that ownership there, because I then look at it like I have that same ownership and chest for the Caribbean and Africa. That's how I feel about the land for me, right? But I don't feel like that with Britain. And a lot of black people in Britain don't. They will say that they're, African or Caribbean British. It's very rare. I mean, you get your, like I said, because they're everywhere, you get your odd ones, but majority of us, we don't have that kind of affiliation to this land. Does that make sense? So I do understand how, to them, if somebody coming to their land who is black and then undermining the struggles, it's like it'd be the equivalent to me if someone coming to the Africa or the Caribbean and undermining the struggles there. Not do you know what I mean? That's in
kind of like the Chinese and the European man, right? Kind of like that, right?
Exactly. But in a way. I don't know if I'm making any sense of this, but I do understand that point. Yes. I really do understand that point. And that's why to me, it's all power to you. Get the reparations, get everything you deserve. But obviously that's what we think over here, right? So I do understand that kind of aspect of it, is what you're saying. And I think maybe if they led on that, it'd be more clearer than, you fled, you're this, you're that, booty scratcher, this, that, and the other.
But the thing is, sister, that is the clubhouse conversation. So here's African Americans, right? From what I know, they have shown a universal kindness in inclusivity in their culture, in their space, historically. That's why so many hip hoppers were actually of Caribbean background. You will never know because they're very inclusive. But what you're saying now, what you're seeing now is, whenever you start dissing African Americans, they start doing what they do at school, and and Jamaicans do as well, to be honest, right? Where it's like they just go full ham. They just go, it's like, all right, they're gonna unlist a whole load of stuff, whatever it is, and that's what we're hearing. But when you actually sit down and talk about actual things with civilization, civilized people, whatever, that's the conversation we hear. So I'd rather have a conversation about what is the complaint and how do we fix it, because there will be elements of truth there because they're seen. And also one other thing, how we in the diaspora talk about African Americans, the way we word things can be very insulting, where you say that, oh, you're not American, you're African, right? Now what it is a Jamaican.
Yeah, but that's because no one. It's rare. Like I feel like maybe it's probably ignorance, but I don't know many other countries where Black people feel so affiliated with a land that they're not. Do you know what I mean? Like,
let me explain. The land of the Americans, and obviously people got their own interpretation. The land of the Americans was in mass run by Native American people, right? And some Black people here and there, but generally that's what it was, right? Europeans went there, took African slaves, went there, removed the culture and history of where those slaves would come, and formed a new Black people group who were building up the Americas, but without any respect or any kind of like acknowledgement, right? Now the Europeans are very comfortable to say they're American, and there seems to be very little pushback for the most part. But the Africans who were the
have
Black
to always
people,
put an African in front of the American.
yeah. So what they're saying is, if you're gonna say that white people are American and they built this land, then we want either equal or more respect because it was on our backs. Yeah. So the Afro Jamaican can say, look, I'm of African descent and I have my own land, Jamaica, in it. And the Nigerian can say, I'm of African descent, but I've got my own land, Nigeria. But the African American doesn't have that outside of the Americas, which he or she will feel, well, actually, even though I didn't want to come here, I did build it, so it's mine.
Yeah, and I said that on the back of their backs, but you do remember though, but this is what I'm saying. When we're not talking about the majority of African Americans, because at present the majority are happy to be called African American. This is still a fringe on the internet.
Yes,
and the African Americans didn't they come up with it themselves?
Yeah, Jesse Jackson came.
Exactly. So it's like we've
remember,
got to remember these things and not get wrapped into this one fringe group.
The African American isn't really the issue. The issue is they want a name to describe people who were the Black people who were builders of the land, who had no rights and were enslaved on that land. They want a word.
African American's not good enough for that, because that was their name for that.
Well, apparently, a person who comes from Nigeria can be African American. A person who comes from Jamaica can be African American because they qualify for the ruling, apparently. But whatever. Like I said, you remember me? I remember everything I said today, I said yesterday. The naming thing, I said, let's call ourselves teddy bears. So whatever people want to say in their land, that's fine. Because regardless of what you call them, we know they're Black. You know, they know they're Black, right? And they know they're from Africa, right? As in descendants, whatever, right? We understand this. So the naming game will just have us going in the circle and wasting valuable time and resources. Let people call themselves anything.
What they want, yeah.
As long as we understand about what Black unity looks like, or teddy bear unity looks like, as long as we understand that, then we can move on. Because eventually, when people start talking, they start reclaiming the things that was once given away. I'm letting you know that's what it happens. It's just like when you try to explain someone who is of African descent or Caribbean descent or whatever, or they say they're not really Black, or whatever, but then they start talking, and they go, oh, I went to India, and then they'll call me a Black this, and you know, I hate when they're racist Black people. It's like, oh, so now you understand. I don't say I told you so. I say, look, whatever you want to do, fine, as long as you understand the importance of Black unity and Black Betterment. And then we move on. Now, this is a great conversation. We can have it again next week because we have limited time apparently on the time.
No problem. It was a good convo. I know I came in late. Thanks for letting me come in and do my 1-2. Sorry, brother Qatari, if I just come true and
no,
I
you're
just
good.
wanted to have it. Yeah,
Good.
It's important. Like I said, the thing is, sister, and this is important. You are someone who practices Black Betterment, B1, Pan-Africanism, and so is Brother Qatari, right? So any opinion you have is welcome here, because we understand that you're giving these opinions because you want collective betterment. And that's why you're always welcome. There are some brothers and sisters who they don't value Black Betterment in any capacity, and they're actually here just to cause confusion. So they will have to have limitations on the panel because we know
we appreciate that as well. Lord knows we do, bro.
Exactly. So any last words from Qatari and Empress Kush before we go?
I'll just start because I came in late. So I'll just say thank you, great show, as per usual, and great back and forth with you, Katari, previously. And it, like you said, I appreciate that you said that, bro, because I think it's important for people to see that, like, you know, things are not all ironed out. You need to hash things out, and there's a way to do it in a civil, respectful manner. It doesn't mean that anyone's off code, you know, it's just about perception of something. And I don't think there's one way of doing things anyway, not with us. I don't think there's ever has been, because we're not a monolith. So I think it's important, and I give thanks to you giving us space and a panel to demonstrate that.
Thank you, sister.
And bless up to all the family in the chat. And big up, brother Katari.
Go, brother Katari.
Yeah, man, and big up yourself, Queen Kush. Your input and Raven's input just now was great on the Tarot Nasheed. Like, I wanted to interject, but I was like, you two were just saying everything that I kind of thought, and both of your opinions is both of the things that I think also with the whole Tariq Nasheed and Umar Johnson. But I feel these are more discussions that we need to have on like our so-called leaders and our leaders and so on. And just how, and that's what I'm saying, Raven, it's always a big respect to you, Raven, and everyone on the panel, because with you, Raven, the way that you problem solve things is very inspiring to me, because it's like, even how you're saying, you know what, let's think of a solution, and okay, this is the issue, let's come up with a solution, you know. And this is something that I feel a lot of us don't practice, and that we can do more of, and it will be more beneficial to us all. So yeah, big respect to the panel, Black Betterment. Big respect to everyone tuned in, and Raven as well.
Big up, brother Katari, very important contributor. So we're gonna say a big up to Katari, Young Zanis, brother Pan, Empress Kush, brother Dominic, and is there everyone else who was in live and those who keep silent but you're still there. Big up all the people. We'll like I said, and African Goddess, of course. I mean, not forget. We're gonna cover leadership next week, so that'll be good. So tune in next week, because of brother Katari's requested it. We'll cover it more, and then we'll go there. But until next week, Black Betterment to all, and to all Black Betterment. Have a good one. See ya.